Ministry of Education, Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Director Student Development and Community Engagement IIUM, Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, Chairman of IIUM Students Union Working Committee, Madam Hafsah Muhammad Yusof, Director of STAD IIUM, Brother Ahmad Irham bin Dollah, President of SRC 2018-2019 intake, Brother Amin Azim bin Kaharudin, Program Manager of IIUM Student Union Conference 2019 into the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Now I would like to call upon Brother Muhammad Kazik Ashraf, Co-Chairperson Islamization and Social Responsibility, Students Representative Council 2018-2019 for the Dua recitation. Please welcome.
Ummul Furqan Al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa li ikhwanina allazina sabaquna bil iman wa la taj'al fi qulubina ghillan lil ladzina amanu rabbana innaka ra'ufur rahim. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Praise be thanks to Allah, the Lord of the world. Peace and blessings be upon you, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and also for those who follow his example till the day of judgment. Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram, on this blessed morning, in conjunction with the conference on the establishment of IIUM Student Union, we are grateful towards you in favor of all infinite blessings that you have given to us. We seek your blessings for smoothness on progress of this event from the beginning till the end. Ya Latif, Ya Ghaffar, Ya Alim, please bless us with your tawfiq and hidayah, guide IIUM and all of the universities in Malaysia to lead the way by sharing the same wisdom through the spirits of Islam. Bless us with peace, glory and prosperity in this world and hereafter. Please grant us with knowledge that is beneficial to all mankind in all times. Rabbana alayka tawakkalna wa ilayka anabna wa ilaykal masir. Allahumma rabbana ighfir lana dhunubana wa liwalidayna warhamhuma kama rabbayana saghira. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah khairan kathiran, Brother Muhammad Kazik Ashraf, for the Dua recitation. Right now we will be present the safety video.
Perhatian, ini adalah pengumuman keselamatan awam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat datang ke Universiti Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia. Anda sekarang berada di Pusat Kebudayaan IIUM. Apabila penggera kebakaran berbunyi atau arahan menyelamatkan diri dikeluarkan, sila tinggalkan bangunan ini dengan segera. Keadaan kecemasan boleh berlaku disebabkan adanya ancaman bahaya seperti kebakaran dan bencana alam. Terdapat 10 laluan keluar kecemasan di bangunan ini. Sila kenal pasti laluan kecemasan, lokasi pintu keluar dan tangga. Isyarat keluar semasa kecemasan akan menyala sepanjang masa. Lihat sekeliling anda untuk menentukan laluan keluar yang berdekatan. Semasa proses menyelamatkan diri, sila bertenang dan berjalan ke arah laluan keluar kecemasan berdekatan yang telah ditetapkan. Sekiranya anda berada di tingkat atas, kenal pasti lokasi tangga yang sedia ada. Untuk kelancaran proses menyelamatkan diri, elakkan daripada berbual dan berlari. Sebaik sahaja anda berada di luar bangunan, sila ke tempat berkumpul dan tunggu arahan selanjutnya. Terima kasih di atas perhatian anda. Mesej ini disampaikan oleh Jawatan Kuasa Keselamatan dan Kesihatan Universiti Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia. Menjaga keselamatan itu semudah A, B, C. Sentiasalah berhati-hati.
Alright, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a warm greeting to Yang Berusaha, Dr. Zaid Omar, Director of Student Development Sector, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Director Student Development and Community Engagement IIUM, Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, Chairman of IIUM Students Union Working Committee, Madam Hafsa Muhammad Yusof, Director of Student Affairs and Development Division STAD IIUM, Brother Ahmad Irham bin Dollah, President of Students Representative Council 2018-2019, Brother Amin Azim bin Kaharudin, Program Manager of IIUM Student Union Conference 2019, all ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and also all student leader, welcome to the conference on the establishment of IIUM Student Union 2019. My name is Anis Norizati and I am the master of today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, IIUM has been chosen as the first university to conceptualize the student union notion. As such, this conference will be held in order to provide a platform for students as well as the IIUM community to express their ideas of the student union establishment and to finalize ideas with regard to the desired model of a student union. The outcome from this conference will then be used to establish the first student union in IIUM expected in September 2019. These proposals will then be judged and adjudicated by a panel of judges. With that, allow me to introduce our panel of judges for today. Firstly, we have Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, Chairman of IIUM Student Union Working Committee, the head of judges for today. Second, we have Madam Hafsa Muhammad Yusof, Director of Student Affairs and Development Division STAD IIUM. Next, we have Brother Muhammad Badruzaman Muhammad Basri, Deputy Director Finance Division IIUM. We have Brother Muhammad Azrul Hazrin Abdul Razak, Legal Officer of IIUM, and Brother Muhammad Fikri Ahmad, former President of Students Representative Council 2013-2014 and currently holding the post as Private Secretary to the Deputy Minister of Finance. And last but not least, we have Brother Goh Wen Jian, Vice President Majlis Perundangan Pelajar Kebangsaan MPPK. Ladies and gentlemen, today's ceremony shall open its curtain with greetings from a line of esteemed personnel. Without further ado, please welcome Brother Muhammad Haris Iskandar Wan Roslan, Secretary of IIUM Students Union Working Committee, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang Berusaha Dr. Zaid bin Omar, Director of Students Development Sector, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Director, Student Development and Community Engagement, IIUM. Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyuddin Daud, the Chairman of IIUM Student Union Working Committee. Madam Hafsah Muhammad Yusof, Director of Student Affairs and Development, Division STAT IIUM. Brother Ahmad Irham bin Dollah, President of Student Representative Council 2018-2019. Brother Amin Nazim Kaharudin, Program Manager of IIUM Students Union Conference 2019. All student leaders, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I firstly express my gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity to be able to enjoy the ni'mah of Iman and Islam. I will also thank the university for entrusting me the post of Secretary of Student Union Working Committee to cater the process of establishment of the Student Union. And I will also would like to thank the Student Union Working Committee as well as the collaborators for making it through until this conference, which acts as a final phase of the establishment. Being an IIUM student and having 4 years of observation of the atmosphere of the campus politics in this university, it has never failed to make me proud. All societies and students front, they put aside their political differences and unite together to make this conference a success. The Student Representative Council for this tenure, Gombak and Pagoh, has always aimed for unity among various groups so that we can achieve excellence. So that's why for this tenure, we decided to choose excellence through unity as our tagline. And Alhamdulillah, the composition of members in the Students' Union Working Committee as well as this conference is a manifestation of the tagline. Hence, I will personally thank SRC Gombak and Pagoh, Kuantan, Kuliah-Based Societies, Mahalah Representative Coordination Committee, We Unite for Islam WUFI, Student Democratic Alliance SDA, to have practiced the culture of mature and constructive politics to ensure that our beloved university is on the right track. That is why from the start of the establishment of the Student Union Working Committee, we are very open to invite these groups to become the part of change in our university. Big applause for them again. And I am truly delighted that IIUM has taken heed of the Ministry of Education's mandate to initiate the establishment of Students' Union. It is well aware that Students' Union is an improvisation of a concept. From the concept of from the university to the students by the university, to the concept of from the students to the students by the students. But I believe that the existence of Students' Union should not only be restricted to this area of university. If we look back to the history, the Students' Union in University Malaya or as well as in Indonesia, they play a crucial role in determining the country's future as they hold one of the most influential sector in the nation's politics. We are now talking about students being given much autonomy to govern their affairs, are now being a part of the team to make Malaysia a better country. So the concept should not only be from the students to the students by the students. It must also be from the students to the nation by the students. But I believe that as a Muslim, it is not only the university that we're looking to develop. It is not only the nation that we are looking to develop. As a student of IIUM and as a proud Muslim, we should embed in our heart that the concept must be from the students to the ummah by the students. We are all here to witness a history of change. The establishment of Students' Union throughout Malaysia in all universities shall change the atmosphere of Malaysian politics, and that we hope that it would turn to a better atmosphere which will include these three elements. The first one, to practice the culture of mature and constructive politics. We want the students to not make baseless attacks on issues and to not practice mileage-based politics as their basis of survival. We want students to adopt the principle of tabayyun, whereby the students did its checking and verification before making its conclusion on any issues. We do not want to make any speculation as our basis of criticism. We want to ensure that the truth is being used as a basis of criticism. The second element, to practice good governance in line with the Sharia. We want the students to uphold the principle of Sharia in their daily governance, regardless in finance or in administrative. The third one, and the most important part, is to uphold the interests of people than the interests of political parties. Yes, we have the right to choose any political party that we feel the best for the future of our country. But once we hold the position of a student's representative leader or student's representative, it is a must for us to act as a non-partisan. And regardless of who is in power of today's government, it is a responsibility for us to stand up and voice our constructive criticism towards the government for the greater good. I know that there are some history in our nation which sometimes divides the people in this country. We learn that through our historical timeline. But let us not take that reason to not move forward. Let us not make history as a reason to not fulfill our promises, as the people who have a bad past today have high potential of creating a better future for tomorrow. I would like to end my speech by saying that IIUM is now aiming the way to lead in various sectors. But for me, leading the way is not always about being in front. Sometimes it is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, as I believe that is a true value of leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Wan Haris, for the wonderful speech. Next, please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, Chairman of IIUM Students Union Working Committee, to deliver his speech. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berusaha Dr. Zaid Omar, Director Student Development Sector, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. Yang berusaha Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Director Student Engagement and Student Development and Community Engagement, IIUM. Madam Hafsah Muhammad Yusof, Director of Student Affairs and Development Division, IIUM. Brother Ahmad Irham Dollah, President of SRC. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First and foremost, I would like to say, Alhamdulillah, heartful gratitude goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His blessings that had allowed us to gather here today in this historic establishment of the IIUM Student Union Conference. We are very thankful to the Ministry of Education Malaysia for your trust in choosing IIUM as the ministry's co-partner in piloting the Student Union project, inshallah. For your kind information, after IIUM receives the mandate to pilot the establishment of Student Union from Ministry of Education, this Student Union Working Committee was established where myself has been appointed as the chairman, and Dr. Sharkawi has been appointed as the deputy chairman to spearhead the project. Alhamdulillah, we have been assisted by the very wonderful team led by Brother Izzuddin and also SRC and other student leaders, which actually they are the main part of the whole student union establishment. And of course, we are proud to announce that this working committee is manned mainly by IIUM student leaders, where involvement of staff has been advisory in nature. We have been very minimally involved. So perhaps this is what Brother Wan Harith was trying to say just now. This is from the students, for the students, and by the students. So we are living up to this. Yeah? So Alhamdulillah, of course, after this initiative has been taking place, a lot of series of discussions, town halls and road shows have taken place where students of IIUM have been actively participating in this practice. So throughout the whole process, the IIUM Working Committee has decided to open up opportunities for the students to submit proposals as where how they want the student union to be, in which this has resulted in a submission of 8 proposals, which we will hear today from this morning until afternoon. I particularly thank WUFI, SRC Gombak, GAMIS, SDA, Harmony Kuantan, MRC, SRC Kuantan, and KBS for have sent their submissions to show how they want to participate in this intellectual discussion. So with that, hopefully this will pave a new journey for student activism in Malaysia, where student idealism and voices are taken to a new frontier, which we have repeatedly said just now, from the students to the students and for the students. In this regard, we hope that this would empower student voices through the establishment of student union. With that, let us pray that our journey will be blessed and guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with that, I end my speech. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, thank you, Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, for the interesting speech. Ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, let's put our hands together for Yang Berusaha Dr. Zaid Omar, Director of Student Development Sector, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, to deliver his officiating speech. Please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good morning to all. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastahdihi wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin, amma ba'd. Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Rector of Student Development and Community Engagement of IIUM, Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, Chairman of IIUM Student Union Working Committee, Madam Hafsah Muhammad Yusuf, Director of Student Affairs and Development Division of IIUM, Brother Ahmad Irham Dollah, President of the Students Representative Council, Brother Amir Nazim Kaharuddin, the Program Manager for the Conference on the Establishment of IIUM Students Union, and fellow guests and distinguished members of this August Hall. It gives me great pleasure and honor to be in the International Islamic University of Malaysia, the Garden of Knowledge and Virtue, to be able to share with you on this auspicious day the developments and details of our impending Students' Union implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, Students' Union is actually a concept already enshrined in AUKU, already enshrined in UUCA, in our university's constitutions. In Article 48 of Jadual Pertama in AUKU, it clearly states, semua pelajar berdaftar di universiti adalah bernaung di bawah kesatuan pelajar. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, it has been dormant until now. Students' Union is one of the manifestos of the new government, and it has been entrusted upon me and my office in all the universities to implement and make it happen, to realize it. Alhamdulillah, our Education Minister, Dr. Masli Malik, is very, very supportive of this proposal of establishing our Students' Union. Ladies and gentlemen, last week I wrote an article that was published in NST in which I reiterated our government's commitment to establishing a Students' Union. In the article, I'm basically going to quote little bits from the article here and there. It says that in Malaysia Baharu, we fully acknowledge the crucial role of university students in nation building and more specifically to becoming effective stakeholders in the higher education ecosystem. It is for this very reason that the Education Ministry is committed to promoting the empowerment of our country's 1.3 million students through various initiatives and policies. The establishment of the Students' Union in our universities is expected to pave the way for a democratic and independent student government in campuses, where students are essentially in charge of their own affairs. This marks quite a departure from the status quo, which dictates that the students to rely heavily on Pejabat Hal Ehwal Pelajar or the Student Affairs Office to supervise their activities and affairs. In the Students' Union era, for example, activities organized by clubs and societies will no longer require approval by the HEP, rather the student body themselves. Likewise, student representatives will be permitted to partake in university management committees and senate meetings in representing the student interests. Students will have full access to their own finances and accounts currently governed by the university. The Students' Union will be the registrar of societies, with new societies or new clubs being decided to be registered by the students themselves. And they will be the policymaker for freedom of speech in campus. If any speaker wants to come into campus, it is up to the students themselves to decide whether he or she, the speaker or that speaker, is allowed or not. Campus elections will entirely be run by the student body, with the HEP subsequently assuming the role of advisors and facilitators. This should be good news to students, because for so long, the students have the short end of the stick. The prevalent view of all that assumes patronage over students and that the university knows best can no longer be relevant. Our students and our youth are the nation's investment. Hence, it is for this reason that greater student empowerment will hopefully elevate the student status as respected members of the society and enable them to become effective check and balance entity to the government. All this hopefully will prepare students in leading Malaysia towards greater heights in the future, inshallah. So with this being said, discussions on Students' Union, I am very pleased to say, have been ongoing at various levels with good support and positive responses from the public universities thus far. This attests to the readiness of the academic leaders and our student populace in embracing the new framework, as well as their willingness and maturity in allowing the shift in this power dynamics between student and university. The Students' Union Establishment Committee, which is spearheaded by my office in the Education Ministry, comprises a diverse membership inclusive of 3 Deputy Vice-Chancellors, including Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Dato' Fazil Cik Dain, and also Dr. Afandi Saleh, a policy researcher, Dr. Wang Chanda from USM, a lawyer, Puan Fadlina Siddiq, also a IIUM alumni, 2 prominent activists. This is the first time I'm going to announce the new additions to our team. Tuan Hishamuddin Rais and Saudara Adam Adli will be the new members of the Students' Union Establishment Committee. And last but not least, a member of parliament, YB Hassan Karim, a member of parliament for Pasir Gudang. So we are all this very diverse and very unique team, we are entrusted with the responsibility of carrying out the idea of implementation of Students' Union, inshallah. It is expected that by September, IIUM will be the first university to partner with our ministry in piloting the Students' Union on campus. And other universities are expected to follow suit by 2020. And so we come to this conference on Students' Union in IIUM. I am proud and happy to see such dedication and active participation from students, student groups, and also the staff to make this happen. And I must say a huge congratulations to Dr. Mahyuddin and your team for being the backbone and the organizers of this event. Today, I hope for some great discussions to take place, some great debates, and very matured discussion that can hopefully happen to bring forward our idea for Students' Union together, inshallah. So, without further ado, I really wish you the best of, happy conferencing for today. And we look forward to YB Mazli's appearance tonight for the closing ceremony. And with that, Lafaz Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, I am proud to announce that the conference is officiated. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Zaid Omar, for the inspirational speech. And I would like to request Dr. Zaid to remain on the stage for the next agenda. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Director, Student Development and Community Engagement, accompanied by Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyuddin Daud, to join Yang Berusaha Dr. Zaid Omar to officiate this conference. Please welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause to the officiating event. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the dignitaries and audiences to enjoy a montage presentation prepared by multimedia team. Please enjoy. Alright, there we have it, a splendid montage. Now, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Rector, Student Development and Community Engagement, accompanied by Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin Daud, to present a token of appreciation to Yang Berusaha Dr. Zaid Omar for officiating this conference. Please welcome. Alright, thank you to Assistant Professor Dr. Mahyudin, and also thank you to Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan for the token presentation. Thank you. Now we will be having a group photography session. And the camera will be facing, and the camera will be here. And everyone, please face the camera with the best smile that you can have. Right, can I have ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters to stand up? Thank you. All right, brothers and sisters, can you please gather at the center to fit in into the camera?
Assalamualaikum, good morning, and hopefully so far you are having a good day. I am Farah Sofia binti Ibrahim, acting as your moderator for today's historical event. If this is your first time in IIUM, welcome to the International Islamic University Malaysia. And of course, most importantly, welcome to the conference of the establishment of IIUM Student Union. The first ever in the history of Malaysian universities. Can I see a show of hands of those who are not from IIUM? Quite a number. Give them a round of applause for coming to IIUM Gombak, which is actually at the quite far, I can say. Okay. Can I see a show of hands of those from IIUM? Nice too. So how are you guys feeling today? Nervous? Excited? Okay. Well, I am very excited. Honestly, I am in my final year, final semester currently, and the fact that IIUM Student Union is about to establish in my final year, final semester is quite sad because I won't get to experience it firsthand. I won't get to be part of it. I won't get to be involved in it. But knowing that IIUM is actually moving towards giving more power to students is such a relief because I was involved in KBS, a Kuliah-Based Society, an organization in my kuliah or in your universities, we call it as faculties. And I know what it felt like, having to deal with the people from people with the upper power, and now having to get the power for ourselves. It will hopefully bring IIUM to a better place. So the establishment of IIUM Student Union will be implemented in September, inshallah. And I think the idea of having a student union first came when we SRC members as well as some KBS members actually went to Prince of Songkla University, which I had the privilege to experience. We went to Prince of Songkla University, we had a sit-in meeting with the students there, and from that we get a very thorough insight of how the organization of that university is. They also have a student representative council as well as a student union. And for your information, both of these organizations have different job scopes, which makes the running of the university more smooth. So I am very excited for today. The judges are actually having us a brief regarding our flow of the program. So I guess before we start, I just want you guys to know some of the universities, other outside universities who came here today, and please give them a round of applause when I tell their name, okay? The first university is UNIZA. Can I show a hand of people from UNIZA? There. UPNM. Those from UPNM. Come on, don't be shy. Then those from UUM. All the way from Kedah. Wow. We have one representative over there. UMP. Those from UMP. I see. UITM. There. Okay. They did not specific which UITM. So may I know which UITM you guys came from? Those from UITM? Shah Alam. I see UITM Shah Alam. I am from Shah Alam, so it's your. Okay, so those from UM. I see there. USM. UPM. UNIMAP. Wow. UTHM. UTM. And finally, Taylor's University. Welcome to IIUM Gombak. Okay, so this is how the presentation of the proposal will work. Each presenter will get 30 minutes to present their proposals. In total, there are 8 proposals. So the first bell will be rung on the 20th minute. My timekeepers there, Brother Wan Ahmad Nafa and Brother Najmi from Kuliah of Economics. Can you please ring the first bell? Okay. It will indicate that the start of the presentation and also the 20th minute into the presentation. And then at the 30th minute, at the end of the presentation, it will be rung twice. Okay, so that marks the end of the presentation for the presenters and they will have to stop. And after the presentation, there will be 20 minutes of question and answers. Okay, the audience here, you guys will get 20 minutes of question and answers. So if you are interested to ask questions, please go to the nearest microphone. There's one over there, one in the middle, and the other one is over there. So to make sure that the event runs smoothly, you guys can go to the nearest microphone during the presentation as well. So I will pick 2 questions, and I will make way for the presenters to answer first. Then I will pick another 2 questions. They will be repeated until 20 minutes is up. Okay. So I will now ask around for some insights of their university. You guys are from UTHM, right? Okay. Hi, people from UTHM. Okay, can you just explain some insights of where you are from, like what organization and the structure of it?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azim Faris bin Rosli from University Tun Hussein of Malaysia. I am the president of the diploma students of the second year. I take mechanical engineering courses. So about our organization, it is basically just like a normal organization. I mean, like we have student representative from the student itself, and then above the student representative, there's a Timbalan Chancellor or a Vice Deputy of Chancellor. So our university will initiate the student union itself, but maybe it will take time and it will take a higher much of a penelitian. I'm sorry for my English. So that's all. Is there anything you want to ask?
Is it currently in planning, the establishment of student union in your university?
Actually, we're still in the discussion, but it's not for me. It's not for my place to state about it. So the student representative itself will decide it. But we are on our parliament Mahasiswa. So we're going to discuss either the establishment of student union is relevant or not. It's all will be debated in the parliament itself.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Give him a round of applause. Okay. Hi, sister. Can you please tell me where you're from, where you came from, and what are your opinions on today's event? Oh, you guys are from... Oh, I see. I'm so sorry. What about you? You can.
Hi, so my name is Ruby and I'm from UPM. I'm one of the student representative council members from UPM for 2018 and 2019. So what's the question again? Sorry. Today's event. Actually, I'm really excited because previously I have attended one of they call it Bengkel Penyelarasan Kesatuan Pelajar in UKM. So this is like after that Bengkel, so I came here to learn more because for us as well, we actually conducted in UPM. In UPM, we have actually conducted the parliament, we call it Parliament Kesatuan Pelajar. So from there, that is like our model of student union. So I would like to see as well from IIUM and maybe from other universities as well how the model would be like. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay. So just a housekeeping announcement. To those who have yet to receive their food coupon, you may go outside and take the food coupon. It will be useful for you during lunch and after the event later. It's for you to get food, okay? You may proceed outside. Okay, so I will just give you a brief introduction of the presenters, who they are. Okay, so there are two political, there are a representative from Kuliah-based society. These are the representatives from the Kuliah, i.e. the faculties in our university. And the one who will be presenting for our KBS is, one person is from Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Law, and the other one is from Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences. Then we have two representatives from a political movement in IIUM, known as We Unite for Islam, WUFI, and the other one is SDA. And also there's the Mahalah Representative Coordination Council, the Mahalah representatives. Mahalah is what we call as hostels here in IIUM. We call it as Mahalah. So it's a combination of the Mahalah representative together. And then we also have those from Harmony, a club in IIUM, and more later on. Okay, so we are still waiting for the judges to be briefed regarding what they have to do. To kill time, I will go around and ask more questions. So we have these girls in yellow. They are the student representative of IIUM. So, hi sister. Okay, so, the establishment of student union, can you tell us which year you are from and will you be involved in it, after the establishment? Because currently you are in SRC and there are disputes saying that there will be redundancy in the workload because there's student representative council and also there's student union. So what are your thoughts on that?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hi guys. First of all, thank you so much for coming to IIUM all the way. Yep. Right. So I welcome you all to IIUM. Thank you very much for coming here, and we really hope that you guys learn a lot from the conference today, and we learn a lot from your input. So my name is Sadia Shafkat, and I am a third-year student, third-year second sem, studying psychology. And I work as the co-chairperson of Research and Human Development. And these are my SRC members. Okay, the guys are gone for the breakfast. So, and we will be presenting a proposal on the student union as well. So I think the sister asked me that there have been disputes that we have the student council, and then we will be having the student union as well. So how is this going to work, right? So how we see it as is that Student Representative Council, we believe, is not as inclusive of all students as the student union will be. That's why with the establishment of the student union, we will be the last Student Representative Council. And we're very, very happy with this decision. Like all SRC, also we sat together and we decided whether or not we want to go ahead with this. And so yes, that is about the student union establishment. And what else would you like to know? Okay. Oh yeah, you asked that if I would be involved in it. So because I will be in my fourth year and I might have some other commitments, so I won't be involved in it exactly. But we are really hoping that everyone in that the student union will actually bring together the students of IIUM, like all of them, because student union includes every student. It's not just a council of students that just is leading the students. It is inclusive of every student in the university. So best of luck for those who are going to be joining the student union, and with that, hopefully, if we have a very successful plan, we will be the last Student Representative Council of IIUM. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So just an announcement. Before the first presenter, there will be a QR code shown on the LCD. You may scan the QR code to browse through the proposals. Okay, just so that you can check it through and have more insight, have more insights on it. Okay, so now let's invite the judges to come in to the hall. I'd like to invite the judges to come into the hall. Hold on to your seats, guys. There's a slight problem. We will commence soon. Announcing the arrival of the judges. The judges are being headed by the Associate Professor, Dr. Mahyudin Daud. In total, there are 6 judges who will deliberate on 8 of the proposals. Okay, so excitement has been built up. Are you guys ready for the first presentation? The first presenter comes from We Unite for Islam, also known as WUFI, a political movement in IIUM, a very established and a very active political movement in IIUM. So now, I would like to invite Brother Firzan Hanif bin Abdul Manap from WUFI to present as the first presenter of the proposal on the establishment of IIUM Student Union. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I respected Dr. Zaid bin Omar and my respected panel of judges and all the participants of the Students' Union Conference organized by Students' Representative Council. Thank you very much for your cooperation and attendance to this conference today. My name is Firzan Hanif bin Adumanap, fourth year students from Department of Political Science, Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. And today, I would be presenting to you the proposal for the establishment of IIUM Students' Union from We Unite for Islam. Now, let us go through a little bit into the introduction of what is Students' Union. Students' Union is essentially a students' body, just like the Students' Representative Council, but it has an added decision-making power and by implication, an added responsibility. The Students' Union would cater or would have decision-making powers in matters regarding students' affairs. And they would also be the members in the Senate meeting and the University Management Committee meeting in discussions regarding students' affairs. There will also be a Students' Union at the national level where representatives from all universities in Malaysia convene and discuss about students' affairs at the national level. Now let's move on to the first slide. What are the philosophies and the guiding principles behind the Students' Union? We need to have this philosophy and guiding principles in order to have a proper understanding of why should we have a Students' Union. We don't want to go all through this trouble establishing a Students' Union just for the sake of having a Students' Union and just for the sake of following other countries that have Students' Union in their universities. The second slide, please. The second slide, please. As mentioned in the Quran, Allah mentioned, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And remember, when your Lord tells the angels, we are making on the earth a Khalifa, a vicegerent. On the earth, there needs to be a Khalifa with the task of iqamatuddin wa siyasatu dunyabi, of establishing religion and administrating the worldly affairs with religion. Within a community, there should be someone who takes the responsibility of administration. Similarly, within a university community, we believe that there should also be someone who takes this responsibility. And this responsibility is taken by the Students' Union Council, by this group of students. They are in charge of taking this responsibility of administrating the students' affairs in these universities in light of the revelation and Islamic guiding principles. Now let's take a look at 4 principles that we believe, regardless of the structural and technicality differences between us, we will have 7 other proposals. I believe there would be differences, but these are the 4 principles that we believe should be upheld, regardless of whichever proposal. Which is first, increase students' authority. There should be an added authority that is given to the Students' Union after the Students' Representative Council is being replaced by the Students' Union. Second, there should be unity among students in promoting and protecting their rights and welfare. We believe that the Students' Union is a place where the students can form a united force in advocating their rights and interests. Third is cultivation of knowledge and protecting and promotion of lecturers as scholars. We are in a university, and the core business of a university is knowledge, is education. And the one who brings that knowledge, who nurtures that knowledge and wisdom to us are the lecturers. These are our scholars. These are the scholars that belong among the students. These are the scholars that should be nurturing the students as future leaders of this ummah. And fourth, emancipation of students' voice. We believe that the Students' Union is a platform for all the students to channel their voice towards the university administration. Next slide. Don't show my face too much. Okay, these are the structure of our Students' Union. Basically, we would have four main entities inside this Students' Union. The first one is the Advisory Council. Advisory Council is a council that consists of academic staff or lecturers, basically from among the rector, the deputy rector of Students Development and Community Engagement, officers from OLA, Office of Legal Advisor, officers from Students Development Division, STAT, and academic staff appointed by IIUM Student Leaders Assembly. This is an advisory council that we plan to have this promotion of scholars or our lecturers as scholars within our community. This should restore the role of scholars or ulama as the advisors to the Students' Union Council. Secondly is the legislative body. This is IIUM Student Leaders Assembly, and ISLA should be the students' parliament, the place where student leaders convene and deliberate on the policies regarding students. The job scope is just basically like what we do in the national parliament, in the Malaysian parliament. We would endorse the budget, the vision and mission of the Students' Union, and we also deliberate on motions and policies related to students, and ISLA would have the power to amend the constitution and policies of the Students' Union. Next, thirdly, we have the executive on the next slide. Next slide, please. The executive consists of the Students' Union Council. Next slide, please. Okay. Students' Union Council consists of 25 members that are elected, and their functions are to approve students' programs and also budgets that is related, registration and termination of student societies, to organize major university programs, that is Ta'aruf Week, Convocation Festival, and also the Students' Parliament or ISLA itself. And number 4 is to organize a town hall 1 week before ISLA to collect the voices of the students. The fourth one is the judiciary. This is the Students' Union Court to ensure that the Students' Union complies with their constitution and policies. One change that we want to do in the judiciary branch of this Students' Union is that student and Students' Union reserve the right to be represented by a lawyer in the judicial proceeding. The status quo now is that whenever a student is being tried in the proceeding, they cannot be represented by a judge. For us, this is unfair. For us, the basic human rights is rights of representation. They should have the right to be represented by a lawyer in that court proceeding. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, thank you. These are the funding structure of the Students' Union. Number one, there should be an account for the Students' Union, and there should be 3 signatories, which are the President, the Secretary General, and Treasurer of the Students' Union Council. Sources of funding for the account is sponsorship, business revenue, meaning the Students' Union Council can run business, and donation, like Tabung Harapan. And also, we would accept any other suitable sources of funding. A right to manage the students' fund should be given to the Students' Union Council, but the allocation of funds must be approved through ISLA, through the Students' Parliament. And these are the procedures of budget approval. Basically, just like the previous system, it's only that we go through, instead of we go through finance and stat, we only go through the Students' Union Council. Next slide. One of the things that is most difficult for student bodies or student societies in our university is sponsorship. The bureaucracy or the bureaucratic process that is involved in searching for sponsorship and claiming for the sponsorship money can take a lot of time for students. Therefore, with this Students' Union account, when you get approval from the President of Students' Union for your proposal, you can start finding sponsorship, and those sponsorship money can be sent through the Students' Union account. And with a proper proof of that money, you can claim the money from the Students' Union account. To ensure the transparency of funding, number one, like I said before, the budget or the allocation of budget to all student societies must be endorsed in ISLA. Number two, there should be an audit account by an external auditor at the end of the fiscal year. And number three, the audit report must be presented in the annual general meeting of the Students' Union, where all the students who is a member of a Students' Union can attend and can hear the report. Next slide. These are the elections, like I said before. We have 25 members of the Students' Union, where the general seat, where the president's seat would be contested via a general seat. And the rest will follow the current system in which each kuliah would have 2 representatives, 5 international constituencies, and 1 appointment from Disability Services Unit. And the forming structure of the Students' Union Council, just the same like what we have in SRC before, just that we add another treasurer. There will be 2 treasurers, because we would put a lot of financial burden on the Students' Union Council. And they need to allocate the budgets to all societies. We have almost 200 student societies. They need to manage the cash in and cash out, and they also need to prepare the report at the end of the tenure. And below that is a board of executive, just like the excos that we have today. Next slide. These are the authorities and limitations. Role of the Students' Union Council. I will just go through several of the important ones, basically the Students' Union Council, that 25 member, would have the role to monitor and discuss events and decisions regarding students' activities. They have the jurisdiction to approve program proposals and financial reports. And also, they would have the role or the right to issue media statement, give opinions on arising issues, and protest on reasonable justifications. Next, the role of ISLA is to set the policy of Students' Union and to amend the constitution and schedules as appropriate. Next slide. This is the check and balance mechanism of the Students' Union. For the Students' Union Council, they shall consult with the Advisory Council in any decisions that is made by them. But it is not compulsory for them to adhere or to follow that advice. So that advice is basically persuasive in nature. Now, finally, these are the privilege that we suggest for the Students' Union Council. This is at least what we can give to them lah. Okay. Number one is an office and a storeroom. Currently, we have SRC office. Preferably, it would be upgraded into the Students' Union office. We don't have a storeroom, I think. Basically, the current office is the storeroom. It is used to store equipment, it's used to store people, it is used to store everything. So there should be a storeroom for them. Pity them. Number two, covered for any expenses related to Students' Union duties. Okay. We have our student representative council members who are invited to outside programs on their capacity as SRC. But their expenses are not covered. They need to pay for their travel, they need to pay for their food and everything. We suggest that at least, okay, some of the allocations could be given to these activities within the jurisdiction of SRC. They can claim for the money, okay, at least. And number three is free tuition fee, just to appreciate the responsibilities that is taken by our Students' Union Council. In our original proposal, we have already included the first draft of Constitution of IIUM Students' Council. If you can refer to the original document, it will be there, but it is a very long explanation. If I want to share it here, it will be a very dry presentation. Now, next slide. But basically, the gist is based on our discussion just now. I began my presentation with an ayat from the Quran regarding Khilafah, regarding vicegerency. Therefore, I would like to end this presentation with another ayat. Allah said, "Alladzina immakkannahum fil ardi aqamus salah wa atawuz zakah wa amaru bil ma'ruf wa nahaw 'anil munkar walillahi aqibatul umur." And they are those who, if we give them authority in the land, establish prayer and give zakah and enjoin the good and enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. And to Allah belongs the outcome of all matter. This is from Al-Hajj, verse number 41. We made this proposal in support of the vision of this university and the vision of Ministry of Education, because this is the change that we want for our students. This is the change that we want for our university and for our country. I hope that this effort to establish the Students' Union would make our university return as the best garden of knowledge and virtue. And at the end of the day, when we have this power, when we are asking for this power, that power comes with responsibility. Okay, responsibility to establish prayer, to give zakah, to enjoin the good, and to forbid the bad things. With that, thank you very much for your time. I end my presentation with wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Brother Frizan Hanif from WUFI. So we will now begin the 20 minutes of Q&A session. So those who are interested to ask questions, please proceed to the nearest microphone. Okay, we have one sister over there.
Test. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Iza. I'm from IKHS as well. So I would like to ask to Brother Frizan regarding the proposal that you mentioned about the function of Students' Union is to do registration as well as termination of students' societies. So I would like to question here, how do you see this as a fair and good system where you know that students have our own interests as well? And how do you ensure that in this body, in this function, no one is going to rely on their self-interest? Because as what we see now, there are some bodies that in the society itself, so many people dominating the group that you have like shura and shura and so on. And so on. So how do you ensure this will be a very good system? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before you answer, let's collect one more question from this brother.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Haris from UKM. I have a few things that I want to raise here. Firstly, regarding the powers or the authority that was given, that should be given by the student union should this student union is established. My concern is by looking at the draft or the proposal that was drafted, I see that it's a bit too overpowered by the students itself, because we can see, although we are trying to empower students by having this kind of authority and also these privileges, I'm still aware of certain circumstances where there will be situations what we deem as absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I'm trying to seek clarification from you regarding how this student union will be justified in terms of accountability, as well as how does this student union, although it was fully managed by students, won't end up be just as what we perceive as what we see in the administration, the current administration right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May I proceed with the Firzan?
Okay, thank you, Sister Ida, for the question. Regarding, what was it regarding? I forgot how to say it. What was it regarding? Overpowered by a party of students. Okay, thank you. Okay, for the Students' Union Council, for the Students' Union as a whole, there will be 3 bodies, right? Okay, basically the Students' Union Council, the Parliament, and also the judiciary. I just remembered the exact question about termination of societies. Okay, that was the exact question, right? Okay. Number 1, also to answer the question of our brother from UKM, we have made a check and balance mechanism, because we know that there is a lot of power. Basically, even if you go through the next proposals, there will be some kind of added power that is given to the Students' Union. Okay, we acknowledge that this power has the potential to be corrupted. That is why there needs to be a check and balance mechanism. And this check and balance mechanism is run by the students ourselves. Okay? For example, the Students' Union Council only has the right to administer the programs and the flow of the Students' Union. It has no rights to endorse the budget on its own. Endorsement of budget needs to go through ISLA. Okay, that is one of the check and balance mechanism. Another one is when you go through ISLA, when the budget is endorsed, then at the end of the year, there will be an AGM. There will be an annual general meeting where all the finances and everything are being presented. And if there is any corruption, it can be questioned. Furthermore, things like the financial flows, the cash in and cash out, will be audited at the end of the year. So there is an element of accountability that is put within the system, a check and balance mechanism. And also regarding the registration and termination of societies, it has the registration and termination of societies cannot be done just like that by the Students' Union Council. There are regulations, rules and regulations that is put for a registration and termination of student societies. And it also needs to go through ISLA. You cannot just terminate student societies just like that. Okay, for right now, even right now in practice, as far as I remember, we don't terminate student societies just like that. Okay, so there will be guidelines on how we do that. And even if there is this extraordinary case where the Students' Union Council terminates a society, then it is a breach of the regulations, breach of policies of the Students' Union, where this Students' Union Council can be charged by the judicial body, the Students' Union Court. Okay, you can bring this matter to the court, basically. Any other questions?
We have one question from the judge.
Yes. If I may refer to Article 10, number 6, right? You mentioned that any expenditure more than 30,000 should be decided in Islam, basically. So I think there are numerous programs under university or in fact SRCs are more than 30,000 converse. And you said you want to take over a ta'aruf and whatnot. So I think it will be, the bureaucracy will be too much for you to be able to endorse such program, because the program might be, So I'm suggesting to have more, instead of 30, maybe 60 and above, the one who are really, really high. Otherwise, you just, let the SRCs take over. And then my concern to you is I haven't heard of any other organization student organization which also exists in university, but you have not addressed them well. For instance, in your slide number 7, you only mentioned the election seat will be Kuliah, international seat, and DSU seat. How about those from like Sense Mahala, Chitra, and whatnot? So they are not elected in a way, or they are not part of student union. So where do they rest in your full presentation, for instance, because you do not mention them at all? And then number 3, you also mentioned the funding should come from each and every student, in which you said you want to collect 50 ringgit each, right? It is there in your article number.
Okay.
Wait, is it? Or you're not planning to do so? Never mind, I couldn't find anymore. But yeah, Maybe that three first, you should address well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Brother, sorry, Brother Hanif Frizan, please proceed to answer the question first.
Okay. Basically, regarding all other student societies, for the elections, if you want to do elections for all the societies, we believe that it is impossible. We have a lot of societies in the university, and it is just simply impossible. Their position in the Students' Union is that they have their own presidents, okay, their own presidents for societies under Chitra, societies under Sansurf, and they would be members of the Students' Parliament of Islam. Okay, and the first question was regarding the what was that? Yes. The fees.
Yeah.
Oh, about the 30,000, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The 30,000 money. It is impossible if you it is possible if you want to increase the number, but that 30,000 need to be endorsed by Islam. Is just basically a mechanism for you to ensure that the finances is being used wisely. Is being used wisely, and it is not being used excessively. Okay, because we have very limited funds, and we need to allocate those funds properly. Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I have the brother on my left-hand side to ask him a question?
My question is...
I'm sorry, can you please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
My name is Nirmal Singh from University Technology Malaysia, KL campus. Regarding on your slide, one of the slide, you said that privileges of being in the Student Union Council is free tuition fees, whereby government said that the current government said there will be deduction in allocation for every university. So how are you going to make this thing work? This free tuition fees for every student, is it?
No. The free tuition fees is only for the Students' Union Council, the 25 members. The 25 members that is in the Students' Union Council, the elected members. Okay, it is not for all students.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
The brother in the middle?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Haziq. The question will be, through the system that you just presented just now, will it be just for you to just contested the president on the general election seat, instead of other main board position also should be under the general election seat, so that it will be fair for those who are holding the upper position for the students to vote for them? So what's your opinion on that? Because I seen your slide only stated that the president alone should be contested on general seat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We consider the current condition within our university, where the voting turnout is very low, and also the second consideration is the balance that we have in terms of representation from all kuliyas. If we put too much general seat, we fear that the kuliyas that have a lot of students, especially like RKHS and engineering, for example, they have more than 3,000 students. So these are the kuliyas that will have a lot of representative in the general seats, because they have a lot of students, they have a lot of voters, and therefore they have a higher possibility of getting more votes. We want that these representatives really represent every student in our kuliah, including the kuliahs that have very little students, for example like KAED, For example, like Kuliah of Education, okay, if they were to contest in the election on a general seat, then there would be a lower possibility for them to get votes and win. So that is our consideration.
Can I have the sister in the middle?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum to brother and all. Okay, my question is about funding. It's like you state that source of for student union funding is any another suitable source of funding. Before that, I am Nur Farah from University Science Malaysia. Okay, any suitable source of funding? It's like you say like it's like tabung harapan. So the funding or donation can be received from any party politics like Pakatan Harapan, PH or Barisan Nasional. PAS also can or adakah boleh diterima dana daripada parti politik ataupun tidak dibenarkan parti politik untuk menyumbang dana. Okey, itu saja. Sekian, terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Saudari Farah dari USM. I just pick out an example of tabung harapan. Suddenly it became a question. So, things like tabung harapan is basically donations. Okay, donations, and those kinds of donations can go into the students' union account, but it will appear in the audit lah. Okay, you would know who donates for. You should know who donates for the students' union, because when you donate, it is not the money of the students' union council only. It is not the money that you pay to the students' union council to lobby for political decisions, to lobby for political leverage. When you donate to the students as a whole. Number one. And number two, any other suitable sources of funding. These are, actually our university has a lot of funding sources, okay, including Mahala activity funds and student activities funds, and also trust fund and everything. So any sources that are suitable to be included and can be allocated to the students will be managed and allocated by the Students' Union Council with approval of ISLA. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Firza Hanif. Now that marks the end of our Q&A session as well as the first presentation from Brother Firza Hanif, a representative from We Unite for Islam. Please give him a round of applause. Okay, a short announcement. Our multimedia unit will again post up the QR code on the LCD, so I would like to give you a couple of minutes to scan, and hopefully you will get through to the proposals to the proposals. So it'll be easier for you to browse through and prepare your questions beforehand. You may scan the QR code. Another reminder, for the presentation, the presenters will get 30 minutes. The first bell will ring at the start of the first minute, the second bell will ring at the 20th minute, and the third bell is at the end of your presentation. It will be rung twice. Then there will be 20 minutes of question and answers. So just now I wanted to do 2 questions and and the presenter will answer the question, but it seems that the presenter will forget what is the question, so I'll proceed with 1 question and 1 answer repetitively. So can you guys go through the QR code? Is everyone okay? Okay, please take your time to scan it first. Is everyone ready? Have you scanned the QR code? Okay. Let's proceed to the next presentation. The second proposal, 2 representatives from the Student Representative Council of IIUM Gombak. Let's invite Sister Nur Akilah binti Muhammad Zaki from Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Law, and second, Sister Idayah Mumtaz binti Iskandar from Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, our respected guests, Yang Berusaha Dr. Zaid Omar, distinguished judges, as well as ladies and gentlemen. My name is Idayah Mumtaz, and my fellow chairperson, Akilah Zaki, we are going to present the proposal for Students' Union establishment at IIUM. Ladies and gentlemen, just about a week ago, we had our Student Leader Assembly, and one of the motion proposed is to disclose the budget allocation for student activities. And among the questions raised by the students is that, how do we make sense of the fact that sometimes we allow thousands of ringgit being spent on burning of fireworks at sports event, when the matter of fact that we have students at our university who are feeding on watermelons for a week. Budget, welfare, these are only among the few issues that we want to solve. But as we know that the current Students' Representative Council could only take effort to a limited extent. Therefore, we need to establish a students' union at IIUM to ensure that the activities and the funding are done wholly by students, as well as to be involved seriously in the policy-making process of the university. But the main question, right, how do we differentiate between the IIUM Students' Union from any student union on the face of the earth? Ladies and gentlemen, let us not forget who we have been all along since the establishment of this university. We are an international and Islamic IIUM community. Therefore, every single working that we do should be governed by these 3 elements. Next. 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 Namely, the underlying philosophy that we should share, that is the objective of the Islamic law, as well as the philosophy of this university, that is to produce people who pursue knowledge, to recognize our Creator, as well as the missions of this university, that is Islamization, integration, internationalization, as well as comprehensive excellence. These what would make us unique and thus leading the way. Next. Now, let us begin with the end in mind. Imagine an IIUM Students' Union where it runs as a dynamic and representative as well as independent charity organization which works closely with the university with only one ultimate goal, that is to provide the best student experience for all. These student unions shall merit competencies as well as to be proactive in engaging with its members, as well as to support the voices of our students, to accommodate their lives and to serve their needs, whether within the university or within the society. One important and very famous question: in what ways would our future Students' Union would be different from the current Students' Representative Councils? We believe it is at least in these 6 elements, namely solidarity. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of us we have a screen. But it's not just one single screen, but it's a combination of thousands and millions of pixels coming together to form a meaningful image. So imagine every single person who registered to this university. Like currently we have 21,000 undergraduate students, not yet including the postgraduates. When they register to this university, they're automatic member of the union. And imagine what we can do as we pull together our resources of ideas as well as materials. The second one, of course, shared governance. As we say, we want to give power to students, but what is the whole point of giving power when you don't have noble ends or goals to achieve at the end? So we must share the governance with the university to provide the best students experience for all, and as well as be given fair treatment and consultation before any major decisions are being made at the university. The third one is, of course, autonomy. In the name of autonomy, which we will show how we are going to check and balance it. This autonomy will give them full responsibility to manage our student activities as well as funding and to be involved in the policy making. And the third element entails the fourth one, that is accountability. The student officers, as well as all of the working committees inside the student union, will be held accountable and responsible. So at the end of the day, we will have audit as well as feedback and measurable reports, and the audits must be publicly disclosed. Representativeness. As we know, IIUM is unique because we have people coming from all over the country, all kinds of interests. So the student body, this diversity of union members should be reflected in our student body. And last but not least, if we want to become a good student union, we must be open that every single member of the union should be aware of the working of the union, be given equal access to its services, as well as to have equal chance to run for office. Going to the structure, if there is one sentence that we can take away from the structure that the SRC proposes, that is, it must be a separation of power that is so clear, governed by fair bylaws. So we have three branches: the judicial branch, executive branch, as well as the legislative branch. The judicial branch will be consisting of Constitutional Commission, which will enact as well as review the Constitution, and the Election Commission, fully run by students, as well as under our Advisory Council, which is the Legislative Council, made up of elected chairs of representative bodies. And these are three separate entities. They won't be the same people. That is how we're going to check and balance our students' union. And underneath our Student Officer Council, which is the executive branch, it will be led by a president, assisted by 5 vice presidents, namely Vice President of Education, Vice President Activities, Vice President Public Relations, Vice President International, and Vice President Postgraduate. One of the examples of the bylaw which will regulate our student officers to reflect fairness and representative, for example, Vice President International seat to be occupied by an international union member only. So ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, there is a gray row, or a box right there, saying that external officers. We know that we want to have the power, but we believe power entails knowledge. Therefore, we must be assisted by the knowledgeable, that is the external officers. The external officers are made up of the university administration staffs, alumni and professionals to advise and help with the technical running of the union. And as well as we can see the executive committees made up of the representative councils comprising the following: Pagoh Campus Special Officer, Kuliah Representative Council, Mahala Representative Council, Society Representative Council, Country Representative Council, which will support and serve the groups they represent in terms of execution. They will also communicate and engage and conduct programs for the welfare of their members. Let us move on to the next point of discussion. To put it simply, we have two sides of the budget, the internal budget and the external budget. We propose that for the internal budget, there will be 3 sources of income. That is, first of all, as we know, let me say it just, commencement budget by the university, as well as fee from the registered student society that we have currently, as well as automatic member of the union, namely the students will pay these fees. Why do we seek commencement budget by university? Currently, the students are paying fees for student activities, at least 25 at Mahala level and 25 for Kuliah level. We have been paying it all the way. So we want to pull out these sources to at least become the initial budget for, or capital for the upcoming September Students' Union, as well as each registered Students' Union Society, 100 ringgit per academic year, as well as the automatic membership for the union, 50 ringgit we've been paying all along. Imagine, 21,000 students, only just undergraduate, not yet counted the postgraduate students. We have 50 ringgit times with 21,000 students, it will entail 1,050,000 ringgit. External budget would come from profits from businesses, conducts, and premises in the union. Maybe we can bring in Subway or KFC or even local nasi lemak. And then donation and sponsorships from budget sectors, project-based grants, as well as government-based grants. These are the possible income sources. And there are at least 3 types of accounts that we need to have. Namely, firstly, the office management account, which will handle the salary, corporate items, as well as the office-related items, to separate with the trust fund account, which will be the place where we pull the money and assets obtained from external incomes, and students' union activities account for annual activities, to just separate these accounts from one needed for the running as fuel of the students' union and one that we will distribute to the members of the union. And definitely we would need an audit committee, which will be a separate entity, fair and open entity, which members will be selected and qualified counselors, which will audit the students' union available accounts and disclose the reports to the stakeholders, assisted by external officers made up of the administration staffs and relevant officers, which we will also upload on our future website for everyone to access.
Testing. Does it work? Okay. So I will continue my presentation with regards to membership, election system, authorities and limitation, and the other additional relevant contents that is needed for the student union. So firstly, for the membership, we propose for the every registered students in the university at every level to be a member of the student union. Opting out. And the students will need to pay a specific membership fees that have been explained by IIUM. And then the alumni or staff members may also become the visiting members of the union. We propose for that to be a franchise of the student union consisting of the alumni, because we believe that they are former students of IIUM, they can contribute more to the student union. Next is regarding the election system. So I will brief on 4 sections about the election system. The first one is regarding the voting system. So all elections in IIUM shall be held via secret ballots using the single transferable votes, STV. So the STV functions differently from the current system that we have now. The current system we have now is that for each kuliah, they're going to have 2 representatives from each kuliah, and we would vote like our choice for 2 people, right? But the STV, how it works is that, for example, we have candidate A, B, C, and D. Now, the students will rank 1, 2, 3, 4 regarding, according to their preferences. So it's not just you're choosing 2 people, but you choose them according to your preferences. So that is STV. And we are also proposing for reopen nominations system, as a candidate in all elections shall be considered in devising the election mechanism. So how it works is that when you see the ballot paper, there will be options candidate A, candidate B, candidate C, and there will be RON, reopen nominations. So if you are not, if you do not prefer any of the candidates because you believe that none of them are competent to be the officers of student union, and you could not give your trust to them, then you can opt for RON, reopen nominations. So with STV, we will rank them, right, according to our preferences. So with each rank, they will have a specific merit. So the higher the cumulative merits, then you will be the winner for the election. So if the RON is the highest cumulative merits, then there will be a re-nomination and re-election for that particular post. So that is for the voting system. And for the election, there will only be for the executive branch and not for the legislative branch. Okay, next is regarding the election commission. This election commission will be fully run by students. It will comprise of appointed representatives from the executive, legislative, and the judiciary, and they will act as the supervisors. But the commission membership will be open to any students who wants to be a part of the commission. And this election commission will adhere strictly to the rules and regulations, and they may also make rules regarding the elections. Okay, next is on the executive branch. For the election of the executive branch, we offer 6 sabbatical offices. We offered 6 general seats for the sabbatical officers. It can be contested by any members of the union, and the officer of LAC must fulfill the required criteria such as a minimum CGPA, a good experience in organizational society experience. And next is on the election rules. We propose for the annual campus election to be held on the first week of October of each academic year. This is to ensure that every tenureship will be fixed, because right now what we have is some tenure starts at November, some tenure starts at October, so we want it to be fixed so that the election will commence at the first week of October. And the notice of the election must be issued 2 weeks prior before the election period in order to give students the ample time for them to prepare for the election. And the campaign period will be 2 weeks for them to campaign to the whole university. And next, the further rules on the election mechanism will be discussed by the Election Commission according to current needs and demands of the university and subject to the IIM Constitution and the Student Union Constitution. Next. It's regarding authority and limitations. So the authority, the Students' Union shall act independently of the university. There shall be no intervention for the administrators. However, the university officers can give advices to the Student Union. Next is on Senate membership. The President of the Executive Council, the Judiciary, and the Legislative shall be members of the University Senate. They can be a part of the Senate. For now, the President of SRC is invited to be a Senate member, but he will come only based on invitation. So what we want with the Student Union, for every representative from the Judiciary, Legislative, and Executive to be a part of the Senate, and they shall have equal rights like any of the Senate, because they are representing the students. They can make decisions regarding student affairs. And next is regarding annual budget plan. So the annual general budget for the Students' Union shall be prepared by the Executive Branch, and they will submit it to the Parliament, which is the Legislative, and at the Parliament, all the members of the Parliament will debate on the annual budget plan. And after that, it will be disclosed to all students. Next is on audit. So the annual audited accounts of the Student Union, it will be presented to the Advisory Council for them to be approved, and it must be disclosed to the students and the university officer. This is to ensure transparency and accountability. So if the students wants to question how they are managing their finance, then they can refer to these annual audited accounts. So next is on premises. The Students' Union shall have its own premise for them to conduct their activities, and this premise shall be their office. However, this premise will be regulated and will be co-managed with the administrators too. And next is on the amendment of the Constitution. The Students' Union shall have its own constitution. How the amendment will work is that the Executive Council will prepare for the Bill of Amendment, and it will be presented to the Legislative, where the Parliament members will debate and give suggestions to the amendment. So the last step is that for the amendment to gain approval of minimum 2/3 of the present members of the Parliament. So the amendment of Constitution will be involved with Executive and the Legislative. However, we also have this Constitutional Commission under the Judiciary. What they will do is they will help in drafting the Bill of Amendments. Okay. Next is on the additional relevant contents that we believe must be implemented in the establishment of Student Union. First one is the training of officers. We believe that the students who are managing the Office of Student Union, they must be well equipped with proper training in how to manage, and for them to really understand the structure of the Student Union. Therefore, continuous workshops must be done for them to have the competency to run the office. So next is on the manifesto guidance. The candidates for the election, if they want to participate in the election, they must be given guidance and exposure on the real issues that are faced by the students. They need to be given the opportunity to engage with officers in constructing their manifestos. Okay, third is on the centralized website. We propose for the Student Union to have its own well-established systematic website whereby all the information regarding student affairs, academic affairs, finance affairs, anything regarding to students is contained in the website. And every student shall have access on this website, and we would like to propose for a regular newsletter to be given to all students' email for them to have updates and announcements on the student affairs. Okay, next is on audit disclosures. Like I said earlier, the annual budget plan, the annual audited accounts shall be disclosed for the students, for them to be questioned, for them to question on the financial statements. This is to ensure transparency. And next is on general seat debate. Oh, this is for election. We believe that it is important for students to have, to empower their critical thinking and for them to not just blindly vote for their candidates without being exposed on the specific implementation of their manifestos. Therefore, a general seat debate for all the candidates shall be conducted for them to debate on their own manifestos between the candidates themselves and for the students to question and check their manifestos. And next is on the Students' Union campaign. So what we're doing right now is a pretty huge thing. We are paving the way for student autonomy. So continuous campaign must be done for students to be aware of our effort to establish the student union, and that must be done starting from now until the end of the September before we establish the students union. So that pretty much sums up our presentation. We believe that it is time for student autonomy to be given to students to manage its own affairs. So before we end our presentation, I would like to leave you with a question to ponder. So the question is, if we don't give the youth the power to run the university today, then how can we trust them to run the world tomorrow? So that is all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Akila and Sister Idayu, the representatives from our Student Representative Council. So those who are interested to ask questions, you may proceed to the nearest microphone. Let's have the judge to ask the question first.
Okay, a very good morning. Thank you for your amazing presentation. I have one question for you. From the panel of the judge. From your election system that I have read through from your proposal, as we know now, endorsement of budget, approval of the activities of program is now done by the HEPA, is it? Hal Ehwal Pelajar. If in my university is Students and Career Development.
Yes.
Okay. If this job taken by the Students Union, all right, will there be any redundant of job scope, okay, between the HEPA as well as Student Union, where we know Student Union is under the UMC, which is the University Management Committee, all right? That is one question. Secondly, simple question, apart from your proposal, I just want to know, how do you avoid biasness, all right? Biasness is everywhere, we can see. But in your student council, student union, where you operated fully by the students, okay? How do you avoid biasness regardless personal interests, regardless emotions, do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Right? So
Perfect.
that is two of my questions. Thank you very much.
You want to answer the question? I can answer the second one. Okay, definitely. So just now the question, let me paraphrase the question. You asked about the election system previously run by STAT, and how do we avoid redundancy when it's run by STAT as well as the students. So in the upcoming election, currently we have an election commission also chaired by our Vice President Abud, and it's going to be fully run by the students, where we would like to implement the e-voting. And we believe that currently the status of IIUM is that the Student Development Division has handed over the responsibility to run the election commission to the students. Do I answer the question? Thank you.
The second question is regarding the biasness and how can we ensure that there is no biasness in the management of the student union. Well, in the structure, the underlying philosophy of the structure is that there must be separation of powers. That's why we have three different branches. We have the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. So the executive must check and balance must be the check and balance for the legislative, and the legislative must be the check and balance for the executive. So if any of the executive officers had conducted themselves in a way that they had conducted in a biased manner, then there will be someone who will question them, and they will not go away with it.
Yes. And to add on that, thank you for the question. I think it's very important because it's also our collective concern. Like last time, we have our ISLA Student Leader Assembly. The debate is open in the parliament, and for example, in the future parliament, imagine one person have to convince all the hundreds of societies, 160 societies. So it's quite unlikely that we can collectively, unless there's a shura within the shura, but when it's open to the students even to evaluate, the parliament would be open to everyone to see, and they can always report to the students' union or the university if there is any abuse of power. We hope we answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions from members of the floor?
One more question from from panel.
Thank you.
All right, I would like to confirm with both of you, either one of you, whether this student union, the new establishment, or enhancing maybe the clause stated on the SRC that we have under Constitution. Okay, you are proposing the new one is totally new or enhancing the current?
Yes. Okay. So the question is that, are we going to propose a new system from the current SRC, or it's enhancing the SRC, right?
The entity itself. Okay?
The entity.
The student union. Okay.
Yes, it's a new entity.
It's a new entity.
Yes.
Okay. If that be the case, my question: who is the approving authority? Okay, in establishing the student union, since you are mentioning just now that this is a new entity.
Yes.
I mean,
Sure.
who is the approving authority to,
Okay.
to establish this union?
In the end, we are doing these proposals and everything, but the one who will approve for this establishment is the UMC, I believe, and also the Senate members. Sorry?
Still the university, I mean, your
Yes,
answer.
for the early transition, it would be between the UMC and the university for the early stage, as we want to make it an independent organization because, yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, James, for the question. Can you please proceed with your question?
Okay, my question is, just now you said that one member 50 ringgit, right, for membership fees. So it equals to 1,050,000 ringgit. So how are you going to ensure that each of the member pays that particular fees?
Okay. Thank you, Rado, for the question. So currently in our tuition fees and in our university fees, we are automatically paying already for activity fees for the mahala as well as the kuliah fees. So we've been paying it anyway, but it's just that not everyone is aware we've been paying this.
Okay, so my second question is, how are you going to control the inflow and outflow of that account?
The inflow and outflow of the
Yes,
account.
the
Alright.
inflow and outflow. Since it's a very large amount, so there can be anything happen by students
True.
lah.
Yes. So definitely there will be treasury. We have a treasury council. For example, in the previous slide, there is no slide anymore. There will be a treasury council in the parliament, besides the representative house, besides the parliament trustees. So these are separate entities who will also scrutinize that's the alarm. Yeah, they will scrutinize the in and outflow of the finances.
Okay, so the Treasury Council can only access to that account. Not any other person can access to the account. I mean, in the Student Union Council, can the President access to the account?
Okay, so when we come to the technical parts at such detail, it's going to be governed by the Constitution, which is yet to be formed or constructed.
Okay.
Yes, but as we said, there must be fair bylaws which ensure that the President does not have, it must be a separate entity, the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. We believe that is our sense for the SRC.
Okay.
Do we answer the question?
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, madam. Just a reminder, before you pose a question, please introduce yourself first.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Haris from UKM. So I was interested when you talk about the election commission, since in UKM itself, we are the administration is trying to is transferring the power of election to the students fully. So but somehow was rather distracted by the technical difficulties. So please enlighten me before I can ask further question on the election. So you're saying that the election commission is comprised of the executive, the judiciary, and also the legislative. Am I right?
We wrote it as supervisors.
Yeah, they will act as the supervisors, the advisors, sorry.
So who will run the commission itself?
The students, they can apply to be a member of the election commission. However, there will be certain criteria and they have to go through screening before they can be elected and appointed as the election commission.
So in being as being the supervisor itself, I mean like those three branches are being the supervisors of the election commission. So these three branches was initially elected by students by an election. Am I right?
Yeah.
So how does this will affect the impartiality of the commission itself, considering that these three branches was elected by students and it can be inclined or be influenced by some sort of student party or some sort, and how does this will guarantee the impartiality of the students in the commission itself? Because I'm trying to pick up the case from UKM, where I'm trying to make it quick, where the committee itself is selected by students in the parliament, in the student parliament, and then they will be the one who will be conducting the election, and they should not be participating or be inclined in any kind of political party. So please enlighten me on how does these three branches will remain impartial when it comes to election, especially when it comes to recruiting students to form the student commission. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Haikal from UKM. You want to answer the question? Please. The election commission is separate from these advisors. And like previously, the SRC will advise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the executive committee that has been elected will not.
Yeah, they're
I think that he got
going to be elected again.
So as what has been mentioned earlier, the executive, judiciary, and the legislative, these three representatives will only act as an advisor. They will not be in the commission itself. They will only advise. And for the elected, I think you got it wrong. Only the executive branch is being elected. The legislative and the judiciary is being appointed. And to ensure impartiality, they are only advisors, and their instructions are not really binding. It's persuasive in nature. And if they are if they have abused their power, then they are the judiciary and other legislative members of the parliament that can question them.
So when you are talking about being supervisors, so I believe that these three branches have no say in the final decision, or they have no say in making the final decision or such.
Sure.
So how does, when you say you are recruiting the students to form the commission, and who will elect the person who will be in charge of the commission itself, since these branches are only supervisors? Because I want to know more about how the structure can be totally transparent and impartial, since because the issue right now is the three branches itself, because that already itself has been the question of how the commission can be impartial itself, because you can see in the SPR, even if the prime minister elects someone who is impartial to run the SPR, we can still see that there are some questions or speculations regarding the impartiality of the commission itself. So I hope to seek your clarification on this. Thank you.
That's a great question. And as we have made it clear that the three branches acting as supervisors are separate from the election commission. So let me also enlighten with the current system that our election commission inshallah fully run by students like IIUM. They are made up of the SRCs, MRCs, and KBS, because they're also elected by the rector. And then, so we have these people. We believe that they need to have some sort of background about how the election runs. Because if we simply let anyone to be part of the commission, it would be very difficult, because the technicalities would be very deep. And we talk about who would appoint this election commission. It will be with the permission and endorsement by the rector.
Thank you.
Thank you. We hope we answered the questions.
Thank you, Brother Haikal from UKM, for being very participative. Are there any more questions from members of the floor?
Yes, yes.
Okay, there's one over there in the middle.
Hi. I just want to ask.
But sorry, brother, please introduce yourself first.
Oh, sorry. My name is Muhammad Faiz bin Muhammad Zameh. I'm from ICOL. Third year. No need, right? Okay. You talk about these 3 branches will be having those check and balance sort of thing, right? So how the checks and balance is actually happening? For example, in the Constitutional Commission, right? If there is an act from executive that unconstitutional, therefore you can make a check and balance. So where this check and balance will be going? You will have your own tribunal, or you will go to the IIU tribunal or something? So how you want to bring this unconstitutional act of this elected student union so that the check and balance will be,
Yes,
Yeah.
understood, perfectly
Thank you.
understood. Thank you, Faiz from ICOL. So that is the part when I presented the structure part, and we want to separate it. It's the same concept with the legislature branch will become like the Congress of the US. It's separate from the president and his VPs and all, and then we have the judicial branch which will enact and review the constitution, and if there's any breach of the law in the constitution, they would go through the courts, which details I believe we will leave to the experts. And then when you want to check and balance, like you said, how do we make sure that, it's a different person in the parliament, it's a different person executing. The same way, that's why also there's a possibility of, should I say the government shut down? Yeah, so it's separate entity. Do I answer the question? If there's any element that you want to clarify, we can just go on.
Yes. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Brother Faiz Michael. We have one question from the judge.
Yes, yes. I would like to ask a few questions. The first one is regarding your structure, right?
Yes.
You decided to have only 5 vice presidents,
Yes.
which only focuses on the education activities, PR, international and postgraduates. So what about the other domains? For instance, welfare, sports, finance and whatnot. So are you really, look into that? And second part is, you also mentioned that for those who want to run for executive branch, they need to score at least a GPA 3.3. What is the basis of that? Are you saying those who are below than that are not qualified to contest simply because they have lesser academic qualification? Or are you saying that those who have lower IQ are not capable of leading? Is that what you are saying? And then what is your mechanism to ensure those who have offered their manifesto to the students, but after a year in office they fail to basically to score their manifesto? So do you have any checking mechanism to somehow penalize or to do something on that? Yeah. And you also mentioned to run for executive branch, they need to meet standard record of organizational experiences. What do you mean by this? All right, thank you.
All right.
You answer the first one, I answer the rest.
All right. So when we propose that we have a president assisted by the 5 vice presidents, and how about the other domains, we debated with the SRC till 4 in the morning about this, and we believe that these 5 vice presidents and what they represent are the major things that reflect the importance of a university as well as the welfare of the students, such as education, activities, public relations, international and postgraduate. And in all this, like our welfare secretariat themselves asked about where is vice president of welfare. And we believe that welfare is a very huge domain to cover, because from our experience, for example, we have a welfare secretariat, but there are also welfare terms. For example, it relates with students' finances, but also related to academic finances. So students don't know where to go, whether it's the welfare secretariat or the academic. So we believe that in all these domains, there will be some elements of welfare. And talking about where are sports, where are all these major and very important things to give best experience to the students, under each of these vice presidency, there will be many departments. For example, vice president activities. there are many activities. We have like dakwah-based activities, sports. So there will have Department of Sports, Department of this. For example, one vice presidency, there will be 8 other officers. Depending on what that we want to cover, if you see that there's a necessity for a new department to be introduced to serve the students, we will introduce that department. As well as the justification of CGPA. You want to cover or can I say?
Yeah. We believe that the student union officers must be excellently and must perform in academic. However, we agree that probably 3.3 would be pretty high.
Yeah.
So we actually wanted to propose 3.0, but we did not have time to amend the proposal. So
because our idea is that we need to set a certain standard for CGPA as well as organizational participation. It's not that we're implying it must be 3.3. The numbers can be changed, but what we are saying is that they must perform as well in their studies and have some basic knowledge with organizational parts.
Yeah. And for the organizational part, you asked about how do we measure that? For now, we don't have any specific criteria like how many experiences you should have, but I believe that any experience, whether in IIUM or outside of IIUM, is acceptable. Yes. And regarding your question on how can the students evaluate the manifestos of the candidates, right?
And the repercussions if they don't fulfill.
Yes. The Executive Council, they will have their own annual general meeting. So the students can question and evaluate their performance in the manifestos, just like how SRC is doing now. We have our own AGM, and the students can question us whether we have fulfilled our manifestos. And for the repercussions?
Yes, so maybe students as part of the union, maybe we can set a set of elements or what we want to take, how we want to take action, but we believe that also there must be justification from their side, so it's both ways. What is the last question?
No, we have answered all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Brother, proceed with the question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Tuan Budi Zaman. My first question is, I want to ask that is the e-voting system will be applied in the upcoming election to vote for our student union, right? Yeah, the answer is yes, right? Okay. I'm sorry because I did not follow the debate in the ISLA previously, but then I would like to ask in regard with the system in e-voting system, how does it will help the participation in the actual world? I mean, before this, previously in the e-voting system, in the previous voting system, we have to come out from our comfort zone to actually vote, to actually voice our votes in the paper, right? But then after this, in the application of the e-voting system, students can just simply wake up from their sleep and then they can just simply put their vote in the election system. That's my question, because what I can see, many of the concern is e-voting system will negate the participation in the real world, in the actual physical world, because a student can just simply put their effort in the internet world. So that's my question.
The students would
negate their participation in the active. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for the question.
Okay.
Yes, that's a great question. Like I said, we began our presentation with our ISLA last week, and that was the first motion about rejecting the e-voting system. So I'll just share some of our views, the SSRC, that first of all, we are going to implement the e-voting system, and we already have the election commission. And then the system, the strength and the reliability of the system is one thing. The participation of the students is the second thing. And we believe that it comes hand to hand. If we think the problem is the participation and the awareness of the students, then we should come up with more campaigns and telling them why it's very important to vote. The same way if, for example, Malaysians don't go to vote, not that we stop with our general election, but we tell them why it's very important, the same way last election happened, as well as negating the participation. I'm not sure about the data of this, but we believe that like any other students' union in this world, they've been doing online voting. And we believe that since we are the generation of the internet, it would ease them even more, because currently one of the issues is that students are lining up, as well as our election day is not a holiday. So if you have classes and if the lines are long, definitely students will be discouraged to vote. So if we can vote and wake up in the morning, view their manifestos online, ask questions online, vote online, inshallah it will be a lot easier. And moreover, the current authority would be giving us the resources, money, ideas, and as well as to work on a solid e-voting system. So we will have some tryouts, and we believe that when we build an airplane, and when it's not perfect, not that we stop building an airplane, when we correct the other parts of the airplane so that it become better and better. Thank you.
Yeah.
We hope you answer.
Thank you. We have one last question.
Can we answer Akila
No,
wants
it's
to-
okay. Okay. Bismillah, I'm a representative from UNISA. So actually from UNISA, like we're trying to have an insight. So like as we can see right now that the student union is a very big like it's a very big thing to do. And then like how is the student union itself is going to work in the office like for the whole day, or like how is it? Like my question is, how are they going to divide their time between the student union work and their academic work? Because as we can see that this student union is a very big administration part-time. Like are they going to make a full-time work over there? And yeah, how are they going to divide their time with their academic? Thank you. Okay, so thank you for the question. So ideally what has been proposed by the ministry, they would propose for the student union officers to have a gap year, to take a gap year, meaning they would take a study leave for 1 year for them to concentrate on the management of the student union, and they would be given allowance and they can take a break from the academic works. That would be ideal. But for now, because we are slowly starting to establish a student union, and I believe that probably the students are not ready to take such a long period to have a break from this academic work. So they would juggle the academic work and the societal works just as usual, like what we are doing now. Even you are as an MPP, I think. So that's how we're going to juggle work between academic and society works.
Like in our proposal, we propose for sabbatical years, a gap year. And from our experience as SRC ourselves, that it's a huge struggle to manage with the officers. Yeah, I see nods of heads. It's just huge struggle to balance our academics as well as working with the office. So we're proposing for a gap year.
Any more questions?
We have to close the question and answer session. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you to
so
everyone
much.
who participated. So that was Sister Nur Akilah binti Muhammad Zaki and Sister IIUM Mumtaz binti Iskandar, the representative from Student Representative Council. So we will again post the QR code because just now there was a technical problem. So you may take out your phone and scan it again. See a bigger one. We are done with 2 of our presentations. There are 6 more. And before we proceed to the lunch break, we have 1 more presentation. Is everyone okay with the QR code? How are you guys so far? Okay? Still high-spirited, hopefully? Now let's proceed with our 3rd presentation. A representative from Gabungan Mahasiswa Islam se-Malaysia, GAMIS. Let's invite Brother Hazim bin Muhammad Noor, the Pengerusi of Majlis Politik Nasional GAMIS 2019.
Slide go. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين Thank you, Chairwoman of the ceremony, honorable judges, and various backgrounds of people, lecturers and also students, and also my fellow colleagues from GAMIS itself. Introducing myself, I'm Hazim Adnor from University Technology Petronas. I am the chairman of the political council of GAMIS, and here is my colleague, Ahmad Shauki bin Johara. He's the vice president of GAMIS 2019. It was my honorable day because I was expecting to meet Dr. Zaid after we tried to engage several times for the student union. And also, I was actually delightful to actually meet Dr. Zulkifli Hassan because I've read one of his, I knew him not from the high profile of the academic world, but from one of his books, Revolution Intellectual. But we came a little bit late from, because we were from Perak. So it made me sad today, but it's okay. Before I start my proposal presentation, I would like to talk about the introduction of the organizational background. We are from GAMIS, one of the organizations that has been established in 1989, mostly to respond to the issues related towards the student of universities, and also to respond issues related towards the nation. We have been responding towards PTPTN recently, ISET, UEC, and a lot of issues. So the question is, before I start, I'd like to make a quick survey. Who is from UIA here? May I have hands? Oh, we have a little bit, mostly half. Who is not from UIA? Okay, there's a lot. Who's from Sabah Sarawak? Wow, you guys are very great. Okay, so how did we end up here? If I'm not mistaken, most of the presenters are from UIA, and we are the only presenters which is not from UIA. So most probably our presentation would be general, and I believe our presentation would be easily understood by most of the campuses because it doesn't relate towards the nature of UIA itself. Okay. And we started off with, we heard about the news of student autonomy and also student union in December when we watched YB Tioni Ching talked about the abolishment of AUKU 15-2C. And then we had the idea of responding towards the student autonomy. And I would like to say that the interest of the minister towards the student autonomy meets our interest in the students, because we have seen a little bit of lack of independency of the students, especially the SRC, in terms of voicing out problems towards the management and all those stuffs. So, before I start again, I'm an engineering student. Thus, as we make a calculation, we will start off with some assumptions. I believe most of you already knew that from school. So these assumptions, please bear in mind all these assumptions before we start the presentation. So bring out all of your ideas outside the brain and put in our assumptions that I would like to say before starting the derivation. The first assumption is, please assume that everyone in this hall is different backgrounds, not only UIA. It will relate towards our proposal. Why? Because not everyone here has the nature of UIA, and most probably they will not understand how the nature of UIA is. That's the first one. Then the second one is, we have to assume that our definition of student union should not relatively defined as how other universities in Malaysia or outside Malaysia has pre-existing defined the student union. So what I'm saying is, we have to put our own narrative of definition towards the student union itself. Why? Because we have a lot of student unions around the world, you can check in Wikipedia, and they have a lot of systems, and they build the student union based on their own history, based on their own nature, why they had the student union. Thus, we have to put our own narratives. Okay, so that leads towards the problem statement for today. First one is, as stated in front, student heteronomy. And this has been said by YB Choniching in the parliament after presenting about the AUKU section 15.2c. She talked about student autonomy, how we should establish the student autonomy in the students. So this is one of the aspirations of the minister. Then the second one would be the concern of students' accountability and integrity. I've been encountering this, the questions just now, talking about accountability and integrity of the students in student union. Thus, we would provide one of the solutions. And this has been also one of the aspiration of YB Choniching. After she's been talking about the Kesatuan Mahasiswa, she actually raised the concern of how the student integrity and accountability will be overcome. So we actually respond to that shortly. And then the third one, the problem statement we have to understand is that university has been seen as a fragmental learning mechanism. I am not denying, and I am supporting that the universities has been made a good progress towards leading the students in terms of academics. Yes, of course. But in terms of leadership, I believe we are not on the right track. The current SRC is not a training ground towards giving a glimpse of the Malaysia itself. Meaning that our current structure of SRC does not give a glimpse of what's happening in Malaysia one day. Because you have to understand that, we have to understand that the training ground of universities will lead towards having leaders from universities in Malaysia itself. Thus, university is a place and an institution for the training ground of leadership and management. Okay, those are the problem statements. Thus, these problem statements will lead towards two objectives. All right. Okay. All right. These are the objectives of the student union itself. The first things first is we would like to restore the student autonomy. But that's not all. In addition towards, we have to define specifically what are the efforts that contributes towards the student autonomy. Because I've been engaging, for your information, Gamis has been engaging with a lot of SRC in Lembah Kelang and also Selatan. We have been given information from Selatan and also Utara about the student union. And as we engage with them, as we ask about student autonomy, we have not been defining the same student autonomy. We have not been defining the same student autonomy. And we don't know what is the specific efforts that will lead towards the student autonomy itself. And this one should be one of our concerns. We have to have the same mindsets of what is student autonomy. And that will be presented in the end of the presentation. Okay. And then the second one, the objective, is to ensure that the student governing system will adopt or be replicated from the Malaysian governing system. Why? Because this is one of the chances of giving a glimpse towards the student to actually lead Malaysia in a small boundary. So this is our idea. Okay. Thus, I would like to actually say that in my part, it's all about reasoning, philosophy, and these are the proposing reasoning that we would like to tell everyone. We have to have the parallel understanding towards the same student autonomy and also student union. because some of us has been seeing the student union based on other universities, has been seeing student union based on other countries without understanding the history and also the nature of SRC itself in Malaysia. So that's all from my presentation. I would like to pass on my colleague for the presentation of mostly on the technical part. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Reintroduce myself. My name is Ahmad Syauki Menjara, the Vice President of Gabungan Mahasiswa Islam Malaysia GAMIS. So I would like to present on the technical part of this proposal. So the first one, I will be talking about the structure of the student union. As the top of the structure will be the advisory council, will be led by our honorable Vice Chancellor. So he will lead this structure of student union. And the branches that are part of this structure, there will be three, which is legislative, executive, and also the judicial branch. So for every branch, we have a specific entity. So for the legislative, we have the student parliament. Executive, we have the student union cabinet, or the rebranded of the SRC, of the current SRC. And the judicial branch will be the University Court of Justice. So for this structure, I will be talking about who is the members of this branch, and then how they are appointed and how they act to fulfill their function respectively. So we come to the first one, which is the executive branch. So the member of executive branch will be the current SRC structure, and it depends on every campus. We do not put a specific department or specific position that must be in the SRC structure, but it depends on how your campus progressing or working. And it is elected through the campus election, of course. And what is their authority? The executive branch or the student union must be free to move as a collective government, because they are appointed, they are elected by majority of the students. So they must have the freedom to move as a collective government. But still, it is bounded by the check and balance entities, which means we will be defining further after this. But now we can say about this SRC structure, they are free, but still we still conform to the University Act and regulation. And then we're moving on to the legislative branch. The members will be the student union cabinet, the SRC rebranded just now, plus the student organization representative and political front as well. So here come the check and balance process. Okay, because at first we have the SRC elected, and then we have the representative from each club and political front we have in the campus. So whenever the SRC are doing bad during the tenure, so we have the opposition, we have the other representative from club to check and balance. So how they selected is by formal registration of members at the end of each tenure after the AGM and the elections. So they will, how they work is by collecting majority approval to amend University Act. So as time goes by, if they found that there are some amendment need to be done on the University Act, so here this is the place. They will propose, and there is discussion and debating session, so they will have improvisation of University Act. And here as well, as I mentioned before, there are the check and balance towards the executive branch. Platform for voicing out opinions, where here the student representative from club and political front, they have the right to propose any kind of motion which they think the best for the student welfare and student welfare. And lastly, here is the likewise the Parliament of the Malaysia. We have the presentation of the annual budget so here as well, the legislative branch, where every year, before we come to the new tenure, there will be the presentation of the annual budget that will be distributed respectively to the clubs, to the programs, and whatnot. And we come to the judicial branch, which the member is the current university court, and how they've been selected is depending on the university again, because each university have different kind of university court, so it depends. And the authority, they have the authority to judge any issues related towards the violation of University Acts. So whenever the students or the members of the parliament found any misconduct from the SRC and any entity in the university, so they will make a motion or they will make a report, and they here come the judicial branch or university court to judge any issues that they found violating the University Acts, integrity and accountability of executive members. So please bear in mind, regardless of what kind of structure that we will be implemented in our own campus, there will be some changes from one campus to another. But please bear in mind that we are proposing something that empowering the student autonomy. So despite of any kind of structure that we want to implement in respective campus, this is the main thing or the main issues we need to encounter to empowering the student autonomy. The representative from the student union cabinet must be, number one, included in the Senate meeting. This is so important because every time the Senate want to make an important decision regarding the student welfare and any student issues, so this representative from student union must be included in the Senate meeting because they have the right to voice out collectively because they are the student and they know what is the best for their colleagues. So they are free to voice out, except is there any university acts that violating their voice. Apart of that, the student union must be empowered to manage their own finances because we need to give trust to the students. They are someone that are keen to do job for the students. So they must be empowered to manage their own finance because by giving a certain amount from the student fees, and then they can distribute among the clubs, the programs, and their own governing projects. So this is what we want to make sure that every university in Malaysia must be imposed the student autonomy. And next, the student union must have the freedom to make certain decision, and this is some of kind decision that they can do. The first one, small to middle-sized program, and also club programs approval at the beginning of each tenure. The student union themselves have the power to approve the program in the small to medium size, and also they have the right to assign the high committee members for the annual program. Like we have the orientation week, the Ta'aruf week, and then we have the convocation. So the student union have the power to, they themselves assign the high committee members to organize the annual programs. And the programs can be directly under the student union. And not to forget, the student union have the right to engage with any bodies that they would like to engage, unless they are violating the University Act or the Civilian Acts. So these are the important notes that we need to see. We define these items that they need to fulfill to achieve the student autonomy. And to conclude, before that, we have for the implementation of the student union, we have several phases. We have come to 3 phases. The first one is the appraisal phase, where before we come to start off the establishment of student union, they must be appraised what kind of the possible structure and system suitable to implement it in the campus. We cannot blatantly to copy and paste what other campus are doing. Instead, there must be a certain period of time, like 1 year of the appraisal phase, to make some research what is the best system can be implemented in the campus. And the most important thing is it must be befitted with the context of university. And then we come to the second phase, which is the establishment phase. Here, after we have found the suitable system to be implemented, so we conduct it, we establish it for some tenures, like 3 years. And along these 3 years, the system cannot be altered until it reaches some certain of duration, like 3 years, because like it is a new, like we all know, it is a new system. So any weaknesses, any problems that encountered by this system must be kept in record. But still, we can be amended it after 3 years, because this is important. After 3 years, we will find what is the best solution to overcome the shortfall of the system. And after the 3 years, we progress to the new, improvise the system. And then we will come to the established or the stabilized system. And two keywords that is the most important in our proposal is the first one, the student union must be self-governed. It cannot be hijacked by any entities, because students must be given the right to govern themselves, how they want to govern the students. So they can be, they must be given the right to voice out their opinions. They can manage their own finance. So in that way, we can call what is the student autonomy is all about. And lastly, we, all of us here, we need to set our own narratives. Different campuses have different environment, different issues. So please bear in mind, we are not robot. We are not easily copying the other system, but take the ideas here and bring back to the campus and formulate what is the best way to conduct the student union. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you from Gabungan Mahasiswa Islam Malaysia Gamis. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Brother Hazim and Brother Shauki from Gamis. We will now open the question and answer session from the judge.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I'm Dr. Mahyuddin. Just one question on the structure of student union. In your presentation, you highlighted a lot about being independent, having the power to decide on a lot of things. But maybe you would like to explain, being under the Knight Chancellor or here we have the Rector, how far do you expect your freedom to be materialized? So long as you are under somebody, you cannot surely say that you will be free. Thank you.
Bismillah. Thank you, Dr. Mahyuddin, for the question. And it's a great question because we have been encountering that question from universities. The question is, how do we ensure that we have student autonomy if we are under the advisory of the Vice Chancellor? Okay, so we have to understand and we have to implement and we have to establish and empower the definition of advisory itself. In Malaysia, we have Majlis Raja-Raja as the advisory of the executive branch in terms of their pentadbiran, their administration. So it means that we are implementing the same concept in universities, and we have to understand this is an Islamic concept. There is no, in Islam, there is no absolute power that should be given towards anyone. Thus, the Vice Chancellor would be somehow the advisory council or the, I'll say the last line of solving any problems related towards the student union itself. Does that answer the question? Okay.
We'll proceed with the next question. Please introduce yourself first.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Martina Di Hashim, Head of Sensurf. Okey, saya nak bercakap bahasa Melayu sebab saya rasanya ramai daripada pelajar-pelajar daripada luar UAE keberatan untuk bercakap kerana masing-masing menggunakan bahasa Inggeris.
Silakan.
Jadi saya mulakan dengan bahasa Melayu, selepas ni banyaklah yang akan menggunakan bahasa Melayu. Okey, anak-anak semua, saya dah bekerja di UAE ni hampir 30 tahun. Dan most of my time adalah bersama bahagian hak ehwal pelajar. Dan saya juga adalah seorang student aktivis di Universiti Melaya semasa saya jadi pelajar di sana. Ya, saya rasa kalaulah suasana yang begini ada semasa saya student dulu, saya rasa saya sekarang sudah lebih hebat daripada apa yang saya ada sekarang. Okey anak-anak semua, saya dah hampir bersara. Tapi inilah nampak baru keadaan suasana yang agak terbuka, yang amat terbuka, bukan agak terbuka untuk pelajar-pelajar untuk terlibat dalam student activism. Tetapi sepanjang apa yang saya lihat tadi semua presentation sangat berkisar kepada student power. Ingin menjadi powerful di universiti masing-masing. Okey, anak-anak, saya gembira kalau memang ada such power, but power with responsibility. Okey, saya melihat trend daripada tahun 1990 sehinggalah sekarang tahun 2019. Trend student, ya. Mungkin akan ada yang marah kalau saya katakan trend sebenarnya dari segi maturity itu daripada dulu sampai sekarang dia makin kurang. Maturity in such thing as kalau dulu student matured dalam membuat decision, tapi sekarang okey, sebenarnya saya dari tahun 1990 hingga 2013 saya terlibat hanya dengan student affairs, tapi selepas tu saya keluar, tapi baru tahun ini saya kembali kepada student affairs balik. Dan 6 tahun saya tinggalkan dunia pengurusan pelajar, saya amat-amat terkejut dengan kualiti kepimpinan pelajar-pelajar sekarang. Dalam suasana yang begini, saya bimbang kemampuan student untuk menguruskan apa yang dibentangkan tadi itu sangat besar, seolah-olah dia nak mengambil seluruh kuasa pengurusan student affairs itu di bawah tangan pelajar-pelajar. Anak-anak semua, pengurusan hak ehwal pelajar adalah pengurusan yang paling besar dalam setiap universiti. Berapa ramai staf yang ada, kaki tangan yang ada untuk menguruskan urusan pelajar selain daripada apa yang mereka lalui di classroom. Di UAE saja setiap tahun lebih 1000 programs yang kita luluskan, yang student buat setiap tahun. Dan UAE yang paling banyaklah program, saya rasa setiap kali kalau mesyuarat di KPT tu, di kementerian, student UAE paling banyak program. Adakah pelajar yang pertama, satu, skills untuk menguruskan. Skill yang ada pada staf kaki tangan yang ada, staf-staf ada susunan training yang dilalui untuk menjadi kaki tangan hak ehwal pelajar untuk mengurusan program. Yang kedua, rasa kebertanggungjawabkan. Kalau hanya bekerja menguruskan dalam tempoh setahun, kalau berlaku apa-apa yang ya memanglah ada ada what do you call it, ada kaedah untuk ni kan. untuk memantau. Tapi pemantauan yang anak-anak cuba cadangkan tadi sangat loose. Kalau dalam pengurusan Iwan Pelajar sekarang, kami dipantau sangat-sangat keras, sangat-sangat ketat oleh auditor. Bukan saja auditor universiti tetapi juga auditor luar. Adakah anak-anak mampu untuk membawa ke tahap yang segitu besar? Apa yang saya cadangkan ialah not full governance by the students, but together with the existing one. Ya, full governance kalau fail, dia akan menjejaskan ke seluruh development of the students. Tapi kalau ada bersama shared governance dengan tenaga pakar yang memang dah sedia ada, yang memang full responsible, saya rasa itu lebih berkesan. Jadi jangan terlalu menuduh universiti tak memberi empowerment dan sebagainya. Saya rasa yang paling suffer bekerja di universiti ini adalah pegawai-pegawai student affairs. Ya, yang anak-anak semua tak tahu. Mungkin anak-anak rasa kami tertekan, tapi sebenarnya yang paling tertekan adalah kaki tangan student affairs. Saya hanya untuk berkongsi apa yang kami rasa selama bertahun-tahun bekerja dengan student affairs. But please, you are still students and students need guidance. Jadi jangan anggap kami sebagai musuh. Itu sajalah. Assalamualaikum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Terima kasih kepada Madam. Saya yakin itu adalah salah satu input yang sangat baik untuk mahasiswa-mahasiswa semua, termasuk daripada Gamis untuk kami take note. Saya juga percaya benda yang sama, bahawasanya benar sebab tu awal tadi saya sebut kita kena tengok dari sudut konteks yang luas, universiti-universiti yang berlainan. Ada pun mungkinlah SRC UIA merasakan mereka boleh mengambil tanggungjawab tersebut, tapi belum tentu. Kita ada kampus-kampus yang kecil-kecil, banyak lagi kampus-kampus di luar sana yang mungkin belum tentu mereka boleh membawa idea student union ni dengan baik. Maka dengan itu saya sebutkan bahawasanya setiap universiti perlu membawa naratif masing-masing berkaitan dengan student union ini. Ada mungkinnya satu universiti ni dia mampu untuk membuat kelulusan program. Contoh UTP ni mampu SRC dia buat dalam range yang kalau small program silah. Dan mungkin ada universiti yang boleh buat sampai program besar pun dia boleh luluskan. Dan mungkin ada universiti memang tak boleh. Contoh Politeknik, contoh UiTM, memang mereka tak mampu untuk ada skill pengurusan meluluskan program. Maka perkara ini perlu dilihat dari naratif kampus masing-masing. Adakah seandainya mampu, silakan. Kalau tak mampu, tak perlu. Ia bergantung kepada legislatif parlimen masing-masing. Seandainya nak luluskan dalam parlimen, bawakan kepada senat meeting. Maka itulah cara yang terbaik untuk kita sama-sama adakan student union pada tahap universiti masing-masing. Dan juga saya juga percaya bahawasanya perlunya ada kebertanggungjawaban setiap mahasiswa-mahasiswa di sini dan juga SRC berkaitan dengan pengurusan. Bukan sahaja merasakan diri boleh buat semua benda, tapi perlu ukur baju di badan sendiri. Saya rasa itu satu input yang sangat baik untuk kita semua mahasiswa.
Okay, thank you. Next question please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Saya Ainina Sofia dan selamat sejahtera semua. Dari UIA, tahun 4 psikologi. Saya pertama sekali saya ingin respon kepada pembentang sendiri mengulangi student union perlu dibawa dengan naratif masing-masing. Jadi tapi itu tidak terlepas dengan konsep student union yang saya rasa kita perlu semua percaya dan imani. Okey, nanti saya masuk kepada situ semula. Tapi saya juga ingin respon kepada madam sebentar tadi. Kenapa maturity level bagi saya menurun adalah kerana University Act sendiri, AUKU. Dalam 2 slide pembentang Gamis hari ini terdapat stated that you acknowledge that University Act is still existing. So I need your stand on AUKU, and also please define that student union in your own perspective, in your own group perspective. Because you mentioned and repeatedly you need to bring your own narrative. I wanted to know what is your own narrative before I agree with you. And also the structure, for the structure rebranding of current SRC. Can you please highlight the major differences of current existing structure and your student union? Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Sophia, kalau, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, for the stand of AUKU, Gamis, with GPA, Gerakan Pembiayaan Akademik, we are inside the technical amendment of AUKU. This is for your information. Gamis is inside the technical amendment with the ministry. And what is what is our stand towards AUKU? This is our stand. We do not want to abolish everything inside the AUKU, and that will be absolute freedom for the people, and people will be crazy in universities. But we want to actually abolish some parts of the AUKU itself. For example, the section 15 talking about the politics inside the universities. We would like to have the autonomy of the students to involve in politics. That has been accepted by the ministry. And then the second one, if I'm not mistaken, the section 16, it is related towards the financial management of the SRC. Thus, we would like to abolish those, but not all. It means that we want to amend it. That's why it was not abolished inside the Parliament 2018, because there are some concerns that we have to be taken care of. And there's a lot of sections that we would like to amend. And that is our stand towards the AUKU itself. Okay, so the second one is, what is our narrative of student union? Okay, our narrative of the student union, easily said, is what is stated inside the objective of our slides just now. We want to implement the structure of Malaysian governing system inside the campus itself as a training ground, and as to solve the problems of integrity and accountability of the SRC itself. And for the question of structure, I will pass it on to Shoki.
Okay, about the rebranded of SRC, which will be the new student union cabinet. So it must be complied to the new portfolio that related to the student autonomy, which, as you can take note from what we are presenting just now, there are two main changes that we want to apply. The first one is the freedom to voice out, the freedom to manage our own programs, and number two, the freedom to manage our finance. So in the SRC structure, there must be added portfolio to compensate that functions, which is the freedom to voice out and the freedom to manage programs and finance. So there is nothing major changes, but they must be added to what the student autonomy versions, which the new portfolio must be added. That's it. The first one is the freedom to manage our programs, and second one is freedom to manage the finance. That's it.
All right, I got a question from judges.
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Rather hold on for a while, sorry.
All right, Bismillah, my name is Fikri. I'm here, one of the judge. Yeah?
Oh, yes, sorry.
So I got two questions to you. The first one is, when the student contest in student election, do they need to declare whether they are independent or a candidate of any political parties and whatnot? What will be your take on that? That number one. Number two, shall the university or the future student union of your aspiration allow any unregistered student movement to conduct any activities in the university? I repeat, the student union of your version in the future, will they allow any unregistered movement under the future student union to conduct any activities in the university? Number third, since you also mentioned the absolute power is no longer within the executive branch of student union, because you are proposing the Knight Chancellor or Director, as per IIUM case, to hold the absolute power in determining any issues. So I put you one scenario. For instance, if the university decided to increase the student fees for next semester by 100 ringgit, and as you have mentioned, it is the absolute prerogative of the Knight Chancellor to announce and to decide on that matter, will the student union has any power to refute to the decision? Please, thank you.
Okay, that's very good questions, and I believe these solutions, if it's suitable for your universities, then you may implement the proposed. The first one is the contesting elections are based on individuals, not related towards any political party. And I believe those, what you mentioned, political party, is the political party of outside the campus, right?
It may also be inside.
Oh, maybe also inside. Okay.
It may also be.
Yeah. Thus, if that's the stand, in terms of the camp, I believe there's no problem with the current elections of students contesting based on their own political parties. But if it's to say that we want to implement the outside political parties, so kata cawangan politik, and that will be another case which we have not have a absolute stand towards that. And I would say that for now it depends on the university if they are ready to implement that, but we don't have our absolute stand right now. Okay, the second one would be the unregistered movements inside the campus. Is it allowed or not? I would like to say our stand is we should not have an unregistered movement inside the campus. Supposedly everything should be registered towards the campus. Just like Malaysia, any registered movement should be registered from ROS, and that should be inside campus also. Then the third one, as a solution towards the absolute power of the university, for example, increasing the fees of the university, the solution is, the first one, if it's been arise, the motion should be brought into the parliament. That's the first one. And it depends on the majority, and it depends on what is the reasoning and all those, and also the votes inside the parliament. And when that has been done, it should be brought inside the Senate meeting as we have proposed. One of the members of the executive, maybe the president of the cabinet of student union, executive cabinet, should be inside the Senate meeting itself to actually, meet up with the top managers of the university.
I would like to add up for the second question regarding the unregistered movement. Bear in mind that we are not simply not allowing the unregistered movement to conduct any program or activities inside the campus, but the reasoning is that we not allow the unregistered movement is because we want the student union have the power to make the program approval and also to distribute the budget for the student activities. So if the unregistered movement is allowed, so they will miss that privilege which consists of program approval and finance. So if they do not register, so they will miss that privilege. So it is important for them to register themselves for them to obtain that privilege.
We'll proceed with the next question, brother.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zail from Department Political Science. I have few questions, but I think that you have answered one of that. First is how student union cabinet. You mentioned that same like SRC. How does it different from SRC and student union cabinet? First, second, check and balance mechanism. I beg for you to elaborate more on how student union parliament can be the form of check balance on student union cabinet. Third, you mentioned in slide that student union cabinet can approve small and middle program, right? So where is the position of HEP in your proposal? Are you denying the role of state or something? Okay, that's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. I talk about the first question, check and balance. Okay. Bismillah. About the check and balance system in the structure of student union. How does it actually happen? The first one is testing. It's just basically like Malaysia. Once, for example, I'll give you an example. The management has given a statement of some sort of money, some amount of money from the student activities. For example, maybe 100,000, 50,000, or maybe somewhere around there. So then the executive cabinet of the student union must make their own budget of the 2020 and all those things, and they must present that inside the parliament. And when that happens, then it will be checked and balanced by the students, and after, when approved, it should be brought towards the Senate meeting and proposed in the Senate meeting. So that's how the check and balance. In terms of the issues related to student union, for example, the student union has made some uncollective voices that was not made by the cabinet. For example, the president made a voice based on himself, not by the cabinet. Then the people of the parliament can check and balance inside the parliament or outside the parliament, just like Malaysia. And if that goes over the boundary, then it should be brought towards the judiciary branch. So, yeah, and if that's not, it could not be solved there, maybe it's brought into the Senate meeting and all those. Okay.
And then the next question is about how the student union cabinet is rebranded from the SRC, the current SRC. So as I mentioned before, there must be the added portfolio to the existing SRC structure, which allowing them to manage their own finance and allowing them to the freedom to conduct programs. So that's it. And then the next question about where is the HEP for the program approval in this case as what we propose in this small to medium scale of program. Where is the HEP in this scenario is that the student union must have agreement with the HEP, which they need to set the standard, or they need to define what is small and what is medium and what is big program. So by that, we have the mutual agreement between the both parties. So for example, for the small program, like only consists of 100 participants, for medium 500, and for the big program is 1,000 and above. So by agreeing to a certain standard that defining what is small, what is medium, and what is big event, so that is where the HEP come in. We are not easily give the power to the student union for them to approving the program themselves in terms of small to the medium program. but instead, there must be the mutual agreement between both of them. So they can set the standard that both parties agreed together. That's it. Thank you.
We'll take one more question from member of the floor.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Haziq from Department of Political Science. Just to add on to the one of the judges' question, which regards with the political entities. Had you been mentioned before that you are towards the establishment of students' union and you are focusing and emphasizing on students being independent, but I'm not sure which one of the slide you stated that clearly the check and balance must also be from the political front, which I actually disagree. If it is from the political front and being the check and balance for the student union, how will it not be biased for the student union itself at the first place? Because you are emphasizing on students being independent, yet you bring up the issue on check and balance where political front need to be a part of check and balance, which I believe this is a contradictory argument, and also this is paradoxing your own stand. Thank you.
Bismillah. As we engage with, thank you Mr. Aziz from the Political Science Department faculty. As we engage with current MPPs, we have been questioned by the same question. How are we to why are we making this statement? And as we said, you decide the narrative of who is inside the legislative. For example, some universities, they have their department representatives only, faculty representatives only in the parliament mahasiswa, student parliament. And some universities, they have the clubs and societies inside the student parliament. And we have been proposing, if you would like to have a more check and balance inside the student parliament, then include the parties, the movements from the elections. For example, in UM, we have Neo Siswa. In UM, we have Umani. In UM, we have Aspirasi and all those things. And even in UAE. Thus include that maybe 1 or 2 members from the movements, they have to register at the end of every year to participate in the current year of the student parliament. So that will bring some of the voices of the students. And that's one of the ways on how to actually have some check and balance in the student parliament. Because if we don't have one of the political parties, maybe some universities, for example UTP, the clubs and societies, they do not participate in checking and balance towards the government, towards the SRC.
You are again contradicting your own points. Before this, you answered the judge that you are disagree with the unregistered body and whatsoever. So when you are disagreeing on unregistered body to involve in decision making of the student union, again you stated here that the students unions must include political front, which they are also not registered under the Universities Act, and so on.
True.
So again, please don't contradicting the point because it makes me more confused. Thank you.
Okay, now I get the point. So the question is about the unregistered bodies contradicting towards the political movements. Thus, yes, in UTP itself, we are constructing the political parties, and we have been proposing towards the HEP to actually register even the movements towards the university itself. And I believe that's one of the good ways to actually, supervise any illegal acts made by any movements in the university. So that's a good question, and I believe it still depends on the university, because not all universities have political movements. Only in Lembah Kelang and UPSI, and maybe in Terengganu and Kelantan there's 1 or 2 universities. Any other universities, they don't use, 100 more universities, they don't use the political movements. So I think that answers the question.
And that marks the end of our third presentation. Thank you to Brother Hazim bin Muhammad Noor as well as his Vice President, Brother Ahmad Shauki, the representative from Gabungan Mahasiswa Islam se-Malaysia, GAMIS. That is our final presentation before our lunch break. So how was it? How was the 3 presentations? Was it up to your expectation? Let me interview some members of the floor. Hi there. How was it? Was it up to your expectation? What are you hoping for after the lunch break? Like what other things are you hoping for from the presentations?
Hello, my name is Kathlear from Taylor's University. So far the presentation has been fine, but it's a very relaxed, a bit. It makes a lot of us a bit sleepy. So, but I really appreciate questions from the floor that makes things like more debatable, and also the questions from the judges are really also very constructive. So I hope for the future proposals to be more engaging. Hopefully there'll be more questions from the floor and not from the same person. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathira. Okay, next. We have a group of brothers in purple. None of them are meeting my eyes, but good thing I know some of them. Okay, I want to ask Brother Azizi. As a member of MRC, right, Mahala Representative Council, you're a representative from Bilal. How has it catered to MRC problems? And any comments regarding your duty as an MRC and a student union? Any comments on that?
All right. As an MRC, so the student union is really it's a really good idea for MRC, and it solves many. I think it solves many what we call problems for MRC, as we know when the student itself that approve the proposal and so on. So they are more understanding about the student itself. So many of the problems may be catered by this student union.
Okay, thank you, Brother Azizi. Okay, so that is the last question from members. That is the last thing that I want to ask to the members of the floor. So just a short reminder, after this we will let you out to have your lunch break, and please gather back here at 2 p.m. And to everyone who will be coming back, you guys have to fill in the front seats first. Okay, hopefully you will do that. And okay, so now I would like to invite the judges for a lunch break, escorted by our public relation members. And after this, after the lunch break, we'll proceed with 6 more presentations. 5 more presentations, sorry.